Zakaron liu pun boleh azu intentionmu tiu manyau ikura sonmu tu matangis pur hagu neni iguinai zatku sangani iamigamu nati guahu na klasi azuzania imanai namu ifagaga unnalahi ikura sonhu
Breeze 93.9 FM. Playing all your go-to jams.
dân mà ho lang cada momento no asuhau neni hutongau nonggagi kwini gifion kirida bayumagu fanhumita aineni mahalanzu esta Ilitratumu Singkat buhi matamu Bulan lelekmu Namai fanungu Bayu nanggahau Ista ifinatomu Kiri daun Guinahizaku Cada momento no asuhau Neni hutongau nonggagi kwini Gifion kirida Bayumagu fanhumita aineni mahalanzu esta cada momento no asuhau neni hutongau nonggagi kwini gifion kirida bayumagu fanhumita aineni mahalanzu esta cada momento no asuhau neni hutongau nonggagi kwini gifion kirida bayumagu fanhumita aineni mahalanzu esta
You're listening to The Link with Chris Barnett. KUAM FM, Hagåtña, Guam. 93.9 The Breeze.
Oh, that's just an EE.
Oh, sim, já, selten mag. Et so ita saluda antes di niga radzaudzan malakes fredzas durante todo a nogi distancia gumugupugi palu zangiman malak guafi ikonung nasugi airi prebatu la noci nai banderata gaigi pues atan fanny bandera kau esta pagwapu malalapa giluk tanu man libri Sentamiti man ko badi.
Gizu na la la la. I long it when I dana. Giza pulan dana tau. Ipala wani huwaja. Tangi ipala wani. Tangi asago. Abesti tu si haminau. Langiri pahlawan, langiri asagwa, jagwa hamala goda, taza loki maski kita, langiri pinajana, langiri pinatana, zaman terasa memahami.
Viva Mr. Moru! Viva! Good morning, Guam! Viva Bananas of Zeus! Good morning, Sabrina.
Good morning, Christopher.
Thank you. Joe, sir, good morning. Right on. It's Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. It's 3222. And good morning on you guys from The Breeze. We're KUAM FM, Agani Guam, and also on our Facebook Live audience. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on the link, which is brought to you by Cabo Enterprises, ITNE, and Jack in the Box. This morning, just running through some of the comments on our Facebook Live. We got all the regulars. Got Mama Bear Debbie Davis, Rosemary LaGuatnia. Who else we got here? Bev Tess, Jay Solis, Bennett, Lujan Duenas. Yes, it is Ash Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And I know that most of the masses are starting now. I'll get the schedule out. But we're actually bringing Polly Microsystem on this morning to kind of talk about the meaning behind Ash Wednesday and then just the whole deal with Lent. And then we wanted, Joser and I wanted to ask, when it comes to eating the meat, right, what is the protocol? And then I'm also curious, because I haven't heard, how are they going to do Ash Wednesday this year because of the pandemic? Remember last year it was like they sprinkled some ashes on your head. That was just, I'm sorry, I don't know if it's a sin to say this, but to me that was just weird. I just felt like my scalp had, it's like I scratched it. And this, anyway, so we'll find out from Polly Mike. Are we doing that, or are they just doing a little bit of the Salt Bay, right? That probably is a sin to say that. We're off to a great start for the Lenten season. So I don't know. We'll get Polly Mike on. Also, we're getting the minority report with Senator Chris Duenas. He's the minority leader this morning. And also, Superintendent John Fernandez is filing his progress report. He does it every Wednesday right here on the link at 6:24. That's what's coming up. Plus, we got some great little segments. We got a cool culture club from, I know him as Josh Zengzung. He's I think he's from Tinian, but he's out in the CNMI, obviously. And Tomas did an interview with him for Culture Club, and he was like, "Hey, do you know this guy Joshua?" And then he said his like real last name, and I was like, "I never heard of him." And he was like, "Yeah, he's a poet." And then he showed me the picture. I was like, "Oh, that's Josh Zengzung." That's what they call him. And so we'll play that coming up this morning. He also did a cool interview with the Speaker of the House, kind of reacting to this whole crazy, wow, this CNMI MMA was just nuts. It's nuts. And we'll talk about it coming up. Right now, though, let's go ahead and get into our first look at the news. Thank you. From the KUAM News. Sorry, Bria's like, let's go. From the KUAM News team, our first look at news is brought to you by Pacific Points with the very latest. Sabrina Salas-Mantanani. Good morning, Sabrina.
Off at everybody. 2 more deaths connected to COVID-19 were reported Tuesday by the Joint Information Center, bringing the total number of virus-related fatalities to 330. The 329th COVID-19 related fatality was a 39-year-old man pronounced dead on arrival at Naval Hospital on February 10th. The man was unvaccinated with unknown underlying health conditions. The 330th COVID-19 related fatality occurred at GMH on October 31st of 2021. The patient was a 46-year-old man fully vaccinated without a booster shot with unknown underlying health conditions. Another 273 new cases of the virus were reported out of 1,667 tests analyzed on February 28th. Of those tests, 36 were reported through the Department of Defense. Hospitalizations for COVID-19 are at 32, with 20 patients at GMH, 20 at GRMC, 2 at Naval Hospital. 25 are vaccinated, 7 unvaxxed. To date, there have been a total of 44,846 officially reported cases, 330 deaths, 383 people are in isolation, and there have been more than 41,000 recoveries. The CNMI, in the meantime, reports that 9 people are hospitalized due to COVID. 1 is unvaccinated, 7 vaccinated, 1 is partially vaccinated. The region also reports 174 new cases, bringing the total case count in the CNMI to 9,724. 14 of those cases were identified on Tinian, and 10 were found on Rhoda. 56.9% of the CNMI's population have received a booster shot. Although COVID cases remain in the triple digits, hospitalizations are on the decline. Now the Physicians Advisory Group has plans on possibly lifting more restrictions in the coming weeks. Daniel Perez reports.
I think we could say we're coming out of a surge and hopefully seeing the worldwide end of the pandemic and back down to a baseline.
Chair of the Governor's Physicians Advisory Group, Dr. Nathaniel Berg, believes we're close to an end against the COVID-19 virus, with no new variants.
I think we could say we're coming out of a surge and hopefully seeing the worldwide end of the pandemic and back down to a baseline.
Chair of the Governor's Physicians Advisory Group, Dr. Nathaniel Berg, believes we're close to an end against the COVID-19 virus, with no new variants being reported worldwide. With that, he confirmed the PAG has been meeting with the governor to possibly ease more restrictions in the coming weeks.
This week, we are looking at sort of designing a plan of loosening things step by step and watching to make sure there's no threat to the hospital. That's the big one. And I anticipate that over the next several weeks, it will getting closer and closer to normal.
Dr. Berg added, with the step-by-step approach, the PAG can determine what lifted restriction could be causing the COVID numbers to rise. As for the next possible lifted restriction,
the next thing we'll be looking at is increasing the number for gatherings, both indoors and outdoors would be the next thing that seems to be okay in other communities and even isolated communities.
The latest with the invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine says at least 5 people were killed in a Russian attack on a television tower in Kyiv. It followed deadly explosions earlier in the day in Kharkiv's Freedom Square. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky called the strike an act of terror, saying there were no military targets in the area. The assault on Ukraine's second largest city comes as Russia's 40-mile military convoy rolls closer to the country's capital. In Kyiv, crowds packed the train station to flee the city as the biggest ground war in Europe since World War II enters its 6th day. Meantime, Russia is finding itself increasingly isolated by tough economic sanctions and disapproval among world leaders. Also, in a sign of solidarity, European Union ambassadors at a UN conference walked out with Ukraine when Russia's foreign minister began his address. Additionally, 200 American troops landed in Germany this week. They are part of NATO's eastern flank. President Biden set to deliver a State of the Union address today. This date would mark the latest a president has delivered an official State of the Union address to Congress in the modern era, rather than the typical timing in January or February. Biden gave a similar speech to Congress a few months ago into his presidency last year at the end of April, roughly 100 days into his presidency. You can watch the address live at 12 p.m. on Channel 8 and Channel 11, with encore broadcasts at 8 p.m. on Channel 8 and 9 p.m. on TV 11. 37-year-old Matthew Manabusan is taking a plea deal in the 2021 death of Joshua Meno. Manabusan appeared before Superior Court Judge Vern Paris Tuesday, where he pled guilty to negligent homicide. The plea agreement calls for Manabusan to serve 3 years in the Department of Corrections, followed by 2 years of home detention. Meno's family was present and approved the agreement. According to court documents, Meno was having dinner at Manabusan's home when an argument between him and one of Manabusan's family members erupted. Meno then allegedly injured the family member on the neck with a machete, and in return, Manabusan shot Meno with a pistol. His body was then found along Swamp Road in Dededo. Armed robberies on the rise as Guam has seen more than a handful of small businesses targeted by criminals. Hannah Devonso reports.
Over the last several weeks, a slew of businesses on island have come face to face with armed robbers. On Sunday, it was Dream Market in Sinahanya, and on Monday night around 11 p.m., Ipao Market in Tamuning. Tamuning Mayor Luis Rivera.
With that robbery in particular at the store, I mean, you know, we just never know. A lot of times we just go into the store to buy a drink, real quick. We're just going to run in the store, buy something, buy medicine or what have you. And then not knowing who's behind you or who's going to be in the store, holding a gun to you. It's just terrible.
According to the manager of Ipao Market, 2 men believed to be in their 20s came into the store wearing hoodies. One was in a black hoodie and the other was wearing white. One man was guarding the front door holding a gun and the other at the cash register with a machete. While they did not injure the woman, they took about $500 from the cash register. One way village members can protect themselves from crime is by being prepared.
It's just to be alert and aware and report in, what shouldn't be there, to protect themselves, as in, to have the tools necessary to protect themselves, like even just a whistle or a horn, bells. I mean, when something's going on, if somebody's coming towards them or breaking in, alarm system.
The men were seen leaving the area in a white vehicle. This is an open investigation, and if you know any information on the event or witnessed anything suspicious around 11 p.m. on Ipao Road, contact the Guam Police Department immediately at 671-475-8615. Hannah Devonzo for KUAM News. Hannah Devonzo for KUAM News.
Thanks, Hannah. After being charged with attempted possession of methamphetamine hydrochloride with intent to distribute, 24-year-old Peter Quifunas found himself in quite some trouble. In September of 2021, investigators with the Postal Inspection Service searched a package that contained over 400 grams of meth hidden inside small balloons that were concealed in paint bottles. On Monday, Quifunos accepted a plea deal that was filed in the district court. This implies that once pleading guilty to the charges, the United States will move for a 3-level downward adjustment in the offense level. He faces a minimum term of 10 years imprisonment. The Guam Contractors License Board finally met after not doing so for several months. There was a lot to unpack, including the resignation of their former executive director. Tyler Mazzanani reports.
During a board meeting, the Guam Contractors Licensing Board approved the resignation of former Executive Director Cecile Buddy Orsini and appointed Linda Ibanez as the acting Executive Director. A resolution passed by the board in 2019 allowed Orsini to authorize the renewal of licenses, testing, essays, and written decisions and findings without the quorum of the board. But the board now wants to rescind this. CLB board member Selena Ashland.
That authority was given with the understanding if there was no issues with the application, no red flags, that are raised, that if all things are in good order, that the director would have the authority then to approve, and this was also, in an attempt with the intent to be more effective and expeditious in the renewal process. So I want to clarify that it wasn't a blanket authority to approve any application that came across the director's desk.
Right.
If there was even one question, it was to be brought to the board.
The board also rescinded the findings and decisions for JMI Edison and G4S Security because they exceeded Orsini's authority. Last month, the public auditor dismissed appeals made by both JMI Edison and G4S Security after they alleged their competing winning bidders lacked a specialized contractor's license. Both companies also emailed a proposed findings to the former executive director, who signed off on the documents without the presence of other CLB board members. Orsini later resigned after public auditor BJ Cruz alleged fraud. Assistant Attorney General Tom Keeler.
What we've got in these two findings and decisions that were issued by Mr. Orsini, both parties being the contractors, were afforded no opportunity to appeal to the board or to make an argument that the CLB staff was incorrect.
However, during the meeting, CLB investigators confirmed that JMI Edison's competing bidder, Menzies Aviation, did in fact lack the appropriate contractor license, and that the only potential error in the prior investigations were the titles of the document. JMI Edison has since taken their case to court. The matters of JMI Edison and G4S remain open and will be revisited when the board reconvenes on March 16. Reporting for KUAM News, I'm Tyler Mazzanani.
The Guam Department of Education appeared before the legislature yesterday to discuss several topics, including the 180 days of instruction required for students, as well as service learning hours. With more in this next report, here's KUAM's Isaiah Uggan.
To be in full compliance with the law, the Guam Education Board, Guam Department of Education heads, and public school administrators were in attendance this morning virtually, requesting lawmakers to put an extension to the waiver of 180 days of instruction and service learning hour requirements for students. GDOE Superintendent Fernandez.
We asked that both the waiver of the 180 days as well as the waiver of service learning be extended to cover these 3 years of the pandemic.
Despite the island continuing to report triple-digit COVID-19 numbers, Fernandez hopes to resume normal operations next school year.
Our intention really is for next school year to try to get back to a normal schedule, and we think that over the past 3 months, as we've past couple of months, as we've reopened for 5 days of instruction through the worst of the Omicron wave, we feel that and we're hopeful that we'll be able to do that. Going forward.
Meanwhile, some concerns arose about how GDOE is tackling the loss of instructional time. However, GEB member Maria Gutierrez says not to worry.
The survey that they conducted all by themselves, and these are for high school students, is the result came back that 63% of the students that were surveyed said there was no learning loss. But interesting with the comment that they also provided is, and let me just read, please. Although this year has been hectic, teachers have figured out how to fit almost every lessons they wanted us to learn.
If such policy does not pass, some 24,000 students would have to make up at least 24 days of instruction.
These are the students. They were the ones that were impacted, but they feel that they shouldn't make the 24 days. So just please consider.
Reporting for KUAM News, Guahusi Isaiah Uggan.
It is now the aftermath of a near brawl in the CNMI Senate among lawmakers at opposite sides of the aisle amid Governor Ralph Torres' impeachment process. Lawmakers in the House weigh in as the Senate says they should keep their hands off. Tomas Manglotner reports.
I sincerely apologize for the demeanor of the session, and I will be informing you all on the next session to address the matter before. I sincerely apologize for the demeanor of the session, and I will be informing you all on the next session to address the matter before the Senate.
That apology coming after a near 1-2 punch in the Senate. House lawmakers protest the proposed impeachment trial rules, and senators erupt into chaos over its own proceedings. Senator Hofschneider says the Senate isn't out of bounds and the lower house should keep its hands off their authority when it comes to the playbook. House Speaker Edmund Villagomez from the left corner firing back with a response of his own.
And just asking for a little more breathing room, a little more fairness, I guess. But I'm not arguing the fact that at the end of the day, it's the Senate's call on how they're going to carry out the process on their end.
He isn't alone. Most public comments before the Senate's abrupt adjournment Monday came from lawmakers.
Only a cheater, afraid of the rules of the game, stacked the decks with 5 aces.
Democrats want rules that allow them to select the House prosecutors for the trial, equal rules for proving a burden of proof in their case, and an open forum that allows the public to comment on the rules, unlike during its adoption in a Senate Joint Committee meeting last Friday.
I urge this body to make appropriate amendments to produce impeachment rules that are fair to the process and to the people. Thank you.
This mess tomorrow, Wednesday. Uncle Ken Conception presents it, and it's proudly brought to you by our friends at First Hawaiian Bank. Good morning.
Buenas tardes, tiget sunto gifinut sa morgan ni KUAM News. Presenta ni Familian Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank. Gimates ano gibenan West Superior Court of Guam, Vern Perez, si Matthew Manibusan, 36 años na edad, pero tulay kay Zonia plea na hearing. Buenas tardes, tiget sunto gifinut sa morgan ni KUAM News. Presenta ni Familian Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank. Gimates ano gibenan West Superior Court of Guam, Vern Perez, si Matthew Manibusan, 36 años na edad, pero tulay kay Zonia plea na hearing. Matsaki sa Manibusan yung negligent homicide prifinaytay Joshua Meno. Masoda tatautan niya si Meno gi-abrit na mes gi-mapasasakan gi-Swam Road gi-zadededu. Iman stabay gi-hearing sa familia ni biktima nung ma-aprebate nila ka ni plea. Ikontrata sa para mapreso sa Manibusan gi-Department of Corrections. Protes anyos na tempo, pwes tinatizi ni 2 anyos yung manasagay gigima sinudingo. Sigon ni dokumento ni Korte, sumesa na si Meno gi Manibusan. Anyong magumento dan uno gi familiar niya si Manibusan. Ano fa matset no si Meno agaga niya itataw ni matseten niya. Dadyo na pinakis Manibusan. Maskin ni Korte, después ni matsaki po da kekesusteni methamphetamine hydrochloride ro distribute. Aso da may sagi si Peter Kefunas, 24 anyos na edad, gimosin at poroto. Di September 2021 nasakan, investigador de Postal Inspection Service sa marekonosyo yung pakete niyo sa kaninizi 400 grama na methamphetamine. Gihalo mabubo siya, niyo maato, gisanhalo yung mapenta na buteza siya. Di Lunes aksepta si Kefunas kontrata ni Zonia plea no ma-file ni US District Court of Guam. A implikas din ang gana plead guilty para di matsakinya ifidira sa maribaha test biyahe papa ifinete ni matsakinya. Afafana si Kefunas si mastak pa na sinintensya no 2 anyos gi tribunal. Masa sunto, per celebrasyon si Mananlay pat Law Week, Judiciary of Guam sa managsasepta nominasyon siya para 2022 Justicia Award. Yuto muna diyan na sinya masamiti as na nominasyon sa D8 gi abrid. At Justicia Award sa recognition sa un persona para organisasyon di man contribute gi nadalanto nominasyon Justicia sa minawli ka gobernamento. Gimapos na sakan ni Gumana Justicia Award sa retirado na West Magistrate Makian V.E. Manibusan Jr. Gimanmapos na tempo siya ay rumisipi Justicia na Award sa Erica's House dyan niya nafamulik. Inaminasyon sa David Ginatsunya Estimento pwede maazang ni Timas ki 250 na palabras. Sa meeting nominasyon siya ay gi-ofisina ni Clerk gi Superior Court. Yuto mo na santo gifinot sa Moro para pagko na Merkulis gini KUAM News para presenta si President Joe Biden in State of the Union Address pagko na dia. Sinadya sa minat kay masatrasaw na presenta gini Presidente State of the Union Address gati Kongreso ng Amerika yung lugar di dupod si Enero pat Febrero na mes. A presenta si Biden kolantay gwini esta kasi 100 dias na tempo di stay na Presidente gimapos na sakan gi abrid. Sino nega izon State of the Union Address si Biden. Gilas 12 gitaloan yung pagko na dia gi Channel 8 jan Channel 11 gi KUAM na stasyon television. Pero man open taro lamon na gilas 8 gi Channel 8 jan das 9 gi Channel 11. Para Guam News Network, Guam Sikin Conception. Yasuto gifinut sa Moro sa presenta sa ninafakto ni Familiang Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Got a question about your finances? You've come to the right place. Bring all your accounts together, even those that aren't with us, and see the big picture, right down to the smallest detail. Unlock powerful tools like Insights and Money Map that help you save time and take control of your finances. When you connect accounts with the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
New Spicy Lovers Pizza from Pizza Hut. Hurts so good. With its spicy marinara and sliced red chilies. It's like a roundhouse kick to the taste buds. How's it looking? Don't be bashful with the fiery flakes now. I want it to be real spicy.
I haven't started yet.
Okay, I'm ready. The new Spicy Lovers Pizza. Get it while it's hot. You want respect? Red chilies get you respect. Knowing our Pizza's the Hut.
Join Nestor Lecanto for virtual in-depth discussions with the movers and shakers in our community every Wednesday on In Full Zoom. Presented by IT&D and Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore. Stop on by and visit our showroom today. We offer everyday low prices on all major outdoor power equipment like bush cutter, chainsaw, power washer, generators, and more. Need service, repair, maintenance? Well, check out Guam's best superstore only at Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape, located in Barragata along Army Drive between Submarina and Besta Market. Call 735-7446 for more information. Now shipping to surrounding islands. Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link. Good eats, good company, and beyond good chow with Team KUAM checking out Guam's most tantalizing, tempting menu items. Every Friday on The Link, listen on Breeze 93.9 FM or stream online. Brought to you by Devondale, real milk from free grazing cows.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage. With generations of Filipinos calling Guam home, KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
Can't Sports Link on the Link every Friday for the latest sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. Sports Link airs every Friday on Breeze 93.9 FM and streaming online across our multimedia platforms. Sports Link is brought to you by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape and Taco Bell. Live Mas.
Let us know what's up on our KOM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the CNMI, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
Uno Mixed. We're mixing it up on the last Thursday of every month with a look at lifestyle, entertainment, food, and so much more on the stations, networks, and digital platforms of KUAM Communications. Uno Mixed is presented to you by Docomo Pacific, Better Together, and Pepsi. That's what I like.
See what's on TV tonight with schedules, network news and notes, local promotions and giveaways on KUAM Communications social media pages. Like and follow us on Facebook or Instagram now for all the latest and never miss out.
And todos santos loco que no guía America, viva! Half a day, todos santos. And to our visitors who are coming to our beautiful Latin Stone Islands, welcome and a big half a day to you. So, I'd like to teach you how to say half a day the island way. Just reach out and touch someone. Half a day! In the pretty islands of Marianas, you see and hear the children sing as the local people wave and say a simple greeting word called half a day. With a happy smile on the face, you can bet you're in a friendly place, really meaning what they say. Each time they simply say half a day. Half a day, total Malik, how are you? Half a day, total Malik, thank you. Half a day, 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 half a day. All the tomorrow say this word, and they say it many different ways. Like when you meet a Chamorita girl, you softly say, hey, half a day. And if you ever need a native friend or a helping hand along the way, wear a friendly smile and talk some more style. Half a day. Half a day, total Malik, how are you? Half a day, total Malik, thank you. Half a day, 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 half a day.
Classic Johnny Sablon, Biba Mestamoru. Half a day, 6:51. My name's Chris. Welcome to The Link. The Ling, as we say in the South, brought to you by Gavo Enterprises, IT&E, and Jack in the Box. Good morning. Good morning. Coming up on the show, Poly Mike Chrysostomo, as it is Ash Wednesday. I know we put up the schedule of masses on our KUAM News. It's on the Instagram. Sir, I'm going to get you that graphic, and then we'll pop it up on the show, guys. I'm curious, and maybe we can ask Poly Mike when he comes on. I'm thinking I might go do Ash Wednesday Mass at lunchtime, right? Because we work at 6 in the morning, and usually the masses are at that time. So really looking forward to getting Poly Mike on. You know, we were talking earlier this week about what is the protocol if you are abstaining from eating the flesh of the animals during Lent, whether it's is it just a Friday thing? And it's kind of different, I guess, for different people. Like, you know, people like my mom, they give up something and they give it up for full on 40 days. And that's kind of how I was raised too. It's like if you give up rice, then you give up rice. You just no rice for the whole Lenten season, which is the 40 days, right? But then I forget which priest we had on, and then it was like, oh, you only have to honor your sacrifice on Fridays or something. So I just want to get the straight story from Polly Mike, because I want to do it right. You know what I mean? I didn't even think about what I was going to give up for Lent, right? And that's another thing I want to talk to Polly Mike about is like sometimes people give up stuff that they already kind of gave up, right? Like, for example, that'd be like me saying, oh, for Lent, I'm going to give up eating balut. Yep, no balut for 40 days. Uh-huh. Ooh. Yeah, but, if you don't normally eat balut or you don't like balut, then that's not really a sacrifice, right? So I should have done more homework on it, and I don't know if there are a lot of you guys. Maybe you could put it in the comments. Have you guys decided what you're giving up for Lent, or are you waking up on Ash Wednesday like me, looking around and thinking, you know what, I think rice, though, for me might be a good one to give up. Because you guys know I had the diabetes last year. Oh, diabetes, been there, done that. I had the diabetes last year, and Dr. Hoa, who's my doctor, told me, hey, Chris, if you just cut everything in half, you should be okay. But I just cut everything out. I didn't eat any ice cream for a couple months or even, rice. And I was able to reverse the diabetes. So now I'm at a point where I can enjoy eating rice. I'll have it for lunch, and I actually enjoy it because I don't eat it that much. And so that kind of sounds like something I will be giving up for Lent. Well, that's it. There you go. I guess I'm giving up rice for Lent. All right. 6:54. What are you giving up for Lent, guys? Huh? Some people do give up coffee. I'm not about to do that, though. Yeah, that's a tough one. Some people give up coffee. I'm curious. We're getting the minority leader, Senator Chris Duenas, on here at 7:30. And, normally he been sung in the choir. And so I know he's a churchy kind of senator. So I'll ask him, hey, what are you giving up for Lent? I'd ask Polly Mike what he's giving up for Lent. At 6:55, we're going to just take a quick break here, and we're coming back with more of the show. I kind of wanted to go in on this, I'll play Tomas Maglotnia's package. Everybody was talking about this, the CNMI Senate, and it was a story that broke here on KUAM News with Tomas Maglotnia and his awesome regional coverage of the NMI. And we kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I was getting so many messages from people who were saying that, well, my friends in the NMI were sending me the same. I felt like they're sending the same message, and the theme was, "It's so embarrassing." Oh my God, it's so embarrassing what you guys are doing, man. Embarrassing. Supposed to fight for the people, not for each other, and that was another thing that was going around. I don't know if it's a tweet or something, but I got that message a lot too. But then some of my Guam friends were looking at the way we talk about this when you watch Session. And guys, if you don't watch Session, you gotta watch Session. I mean, it is like Squid Games and those other shows that you guys talk about and you watch all rolled into one. I mean, Session has everything. It has drama. It has drama. Yes. There's fighting. There's getting along. Right? There's undertones, a lot of undertones. Just watch a Session. They're not in this week, but if you get a chance, watch a Session, because sometimes I'll watch Session and I'll freak out like, God, if people saw this, it really shows a different side to like this senator or that senator, you know what I mean? Because they craft an image on the social media like we all do, right? And a lot of times people have a certain image of a senator, and then you watch them in Session and you're like, what the hell kind of mean girls today? Yeah, so the people from Guam that I was talking to were saying that they could kind of appreciate that the CNMI lawmakers just kind of went for it instead of this whole passive-aggressive, like, I like you. It was just more direct. But I just got to say, like, procedurally, so they're just rules in, legislatures, right? And I think the problem was that Senator Paul, they were doing public comment. And I'm sorry, he's a senator. Right? But that part cracked me up. So the Senate President, Jude Hofschneider, had said that, no, we're doing the public comment. And so this whole thing kind of started because that Senator Paul was like, I made permission to speak. And then it was like, no, we're only doing public comment. And he was like, oh, okay, let me go walk over here and then I'll be a public. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like, that's the way I looked at it. It's like, oh, we're doing a public? Okay, let me put on my public hat. Okay, now I'm a public. And that's tough. I mean, it's tough. If I was a senator, I wouldn't be able to handle all these procedural, because that's a big part of it. There's like rules of engagement for being a senator. Like if you look at the rules of engagement for that Senate hearing that they're having in the CNMI, the people who came out to testify, they kept telling them like, yeah, don't say any mean words. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was like, yeah, change your tone. And that will actually be in a lot of these hearings. Like if you watch the session, when they have a hearing, they'll lay out ground rules. And then one of the rules will be like, you can't make any comments about anyone's character or anything like that. So when people tell me like, oh, you should run for senator, like I'm cool out here. You know what I mean? I feel like I know what I'm doing and stuff out here. But if I was to get into the legislature, or, you know, any of you guys really, like if you don't know the rules, like you can't even speak unless they give you permission to speak. Like in the legislature, you can't like talk. Like if I was a senator and I had an issue with another senator, I can't even address that senator directly. Yeah, there's all these different rules, and so that's frustrating. It is, and I can kind of understand where Senator Paul was coming from because he wanted to make comments, right? And maybe the Democrats felt like, and that's one thing I was surprised by. God, I was supposed to take a break, but this thing is just so engaging to talk about. That's one of the things I was surprised at, right? If you have the CNMI Democrats, they've really made a lot of noise, you know, about this whole impeachment thing. And when you look at the charges, right, I kind of thought and expected more people from the CNMI public, like the real public, like the real people, to go and testify in those hearings. Because I was thinking, God, if it's so bad, and if Governor Torres did all this stuff, and they, with the piggery and the paying the power and taking the Harbor Patrol boat out fishing or whatever it is, then people should be pissed and they should be showing up to testify at this hearing. But who you had show up was like a dude from the Democratic Party, and then you had other representatives, like elected leaders, showing up. So it wasn't even in a period of public comment, really like public comment. God, to me, this is so juicy, guys. It's regional coverage, and we've really been able to bump it up with Tomas Manglotnia, who's from the CNMI, and there's no better way to get reporting from a place than getting it from people who are from that place, right? So he's a CNMI voice, and I think it's great. He's doing an awesome job. You know, he really digs deep, guys, but with this stuff, it's like it kind of just wrote itself. You know what I mean? The video's everywhere. We'll play a story coming up, but again, I got to take a break. Just wanted to give you some of that. That was good. We actually had a walkout here, remember? There was a walkout here on Guam in the legislature I want to say it was last year. The Republicans did a walkout. It's 7:01, Wednesday, March 2nd. We are The Link. My name is Chris. Good morning. It's Ash Wednesday. We're KUAM-FM, Hagatna, Guam, on the breeze. The show continues next. Good morning.
Watch Mariana's artists, activists, and visionaries and their quest to protect, preserve, and promote our Chamorro culture on The Culture Club, a weekly feature on KUAM News digital platform and the KUAM News Weekend Edition. Brought to you by Hanam, the freshest bottled water made in Guam.
The KUAM Podcast Network is back and on demand, featuring a great variety of podcasts from our island and region, including culture, lifestyle, awareness, crime, politics, commentary, comedy, and entertainment. Available on most streaming platforms. The KUAM Podcast Network. Subscribe and listen now.
KUAM Communication is your go-to source for the biggest national and international sports events. Check out KUAM TV8 and KUAM TV11 for the biggest sports specials, championships, and events from every court, track, field, and playing ground. We're bringing you all the action and excitement. Brought to you locally by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape and Docomo Pacific.
Let us know what's up on our KOM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the CNMI, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
Take in the panoramic beauty of our island each Sunday on the KUM News Instagram with Scenic Sundays. Scroll through the natural beauty of the island on display. Scenic Sundays on the KUM News Instagram is brought to you by Addis Trust and Investment, Location, Service, Trust, and Haagen-Dazs Shops Guam, where every day is made extraordinary.
Listen, watch, and learn from the daily Chamorro News updates from KUAM News. Catch them on the link during the 8 o'clock hour, streaming online on Isla Radio, or on the KUAM News YouTube channel for your convenience. Tune in and stay informed, all while preserving our precious culture through the daily use of our native Chamorro language. Chamorro News updates are brought to you by your familia at First Hawaiian Bank.
No bonus too hot for me.
That's hot,
Barnett! Thank you. I just get emotional in February because Valentine's.
Estago pani jati sinya zu mai gu hagu hasu hafa bitsowi si hagu
Make them like this anymore. Bokungo! Prang! Bokungo Pangilinan. Defunto. One of the greatest Chamorro artists ever! And I'm so blessed that I was actually able to go on tour with him. Hey, that's right, you know. Yep. It was Bokungo and DUB and we went to San Diego. We did a couple shows there, and then we went to Vegas. And this is when Bokungo was already kind of sick with the diabetes, and he was in the wheelchair. But, man, he put on a crazy performance. They absolutely loved him in Vegas. It was a moment. It was a vibe, guys. Sorry. But there was a point at the end where they had it was Jesse Ruby, Bokungo, and then DUB, and they did, Pues adios está aquí, pues adios está aquí. It was that song, but then they took turns singing, and it was crazy. I mean, fugu, man. Anyway, that's my Bokungo on tour story. 707, good morning. Here's a cool story. Dr. Nathaniel Berg, interviewed by KUAM News public health reporter Daniel Perez. And the story played in the news, but I kind of want to just go into it just a little bit more. Although COVID cases remain in triple digits, hospitalizations are on the decline. That could mean more restrictions lifted soon. And Dr. Berg quoted as saying here in the story, I think we could say we're coming out of a surge and hopefully seeing the worldwide end of the pandemic and back down to a baseline. The chair of the Governor's Physicians Advisory Group believes we're close to the end against the COVID-19 virus with no new variants being reported worldwide. With that, he confirmed the PAG has been meeting with the governor to possibly ease more restrictions in the coming weeks. Again, Dr. Berg, this week we're looking at designing a plan. They're looking at designing a plan this week of loosening things step by step and watching to make sure there's no threat to the hospitals. That's the big one, and I anticipate that over the next several weeks it'll be getting closer and closer to normal. Wow. Berg added, with a step-by-step approach, the PAG can determine what lifted restriction could be causing the COVID numbers to rise. And as for the possible next lifted restriction, guys, Dr. Berg says the next thing we'll be looking at is increasing the numbers for gatherings, both indoor and outdoors. It would be the next thing that seems to be okay in other communities, even isolated communities. Berg stated with each restriction lifted, the PAG is closely monitoring the COVID situation to check if it gets better or worse. Ultimately, it is the governor who decides what restriction will be lifted next. So there's that. The worldwide end to the pandemic. Dr. Berg calling for it. But remember, I mean, I don't know, when I hear these Dr. Berg interviews, I kind of think of the history of Dr. Berg. And the history of Dr. Berg is his political history anyway. He's very partisan. He is a big part of the Democrat Party. And I mean, it is what it is, right? I know that if you're a governor and you've got an advisory group, you're not going to put someone in there that's always giving you a headache, right? You want to get someone in there that kind of like a yes person, right? And so Dr. Hoa Wen was the former PAG chair, and what did he say? He resigned because of political interference. And what he had said was that he would offer advice and decisions, and then they would just do whatever they wanted to do. And so, I mean, it is what it is. I just feel like Dr. Berg is a political person, and he's proven that in the past. I mean, it's no secret. He's a big-time Democrat. I think he's going to say what the Democrats want to say, which for me, I always take it with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? And that saying, I don't know where that came from, but it just basically means that I'm very skeptical. Because this is the same doctor who came on in January and said that by February 1st, the surge would be over. I mean, and no one checked him on it. No one was like, hey, didn't you say, wait a second, didn't you say that this thing was going to be over in February? Now you're saying that it's going to end worldwide? Huh? Where's the data on that? And so I think that they just got their guy that's going to say what they want to say. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. Of course, you want like-minded people working with you if they're giving you the advice. But election year, it's amazing how quickly all of these restrictions are falling. But I just pray. I mean, I think it is that time, right? But we're kind of normal. I'm not sure what we're not doing other than the big events, and that's where the gathering limitations come into place. But I want it, of course. I want it to be over, right? I mean, we're already discussing the mask mandate and lifting that. They've lifted the restrictions, which were stupid, on the unvaccinated people, right? And so next would be the gathering limits. But I want it to be over. I do. I just think it's dangerous to say things like the worldwide end of the pandemic is coming if, you're not even sure it is. Or if you're not in a position where your expertise is enough to say something like that. Because the thing with this pandemic is we've been told 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 million times that it's almost over. We're just right there back to normal. And then what happens? Normal never comes. And so that's what I feel when I watch these interviews with Dr. Berg. I think he's just saying what not just like the governor and lieutenant governor want to hear, but he's probably saying what people want to hear. And one thing about going to the doctor is the doctor is supposed to tell you what you don't want to hear, right? You don't go to the doctor to be like, oh, you're great. You're looking good, man. Just keep it up. You want to go to the doctor because he's going to tell you the stuff you don't want to hear. Like, hey, you better get your ass in gear, bro. Right? So that's what it is. What it is. Again, it is what it is. I hate saying that, but yeah, I mean, if you just kind of track what Dr. Berg has said as the PAG chair, it really differs from what Dr. Hoa Wen was. I'm a Team Hoa guy, honestly, because I feel like Dr. Hoa, a lot of his decisions, especially early on, remember, because he was at the helm early on during the Alpha surge, and I felt like a lot of his decisions, and he was coming on here all the time, I just felt that he really didn't want anybody to die. Right? Isn't that what you want from a doctor, like a head of a group that's guiding us through this pandemic? And the feeling I get from Dr. Berg is he's one of these guys like, everyone's going to catch it anyway, let it run. And that's exactly what they did. They let the virus run. Right? And it's not even funny because the cost of that was the dead on arrivals, the manumko. We're still getting the deaths. And I think there are things that we could have done early on. I do. I really think that they could have done more early on, right? There's a point where it's like, God, just throw up your hands and it's everywhere. What can you do, right? But had they done something early on and heeded the voices like Dr. Hoa, who in this early on in the Delta surge, early on in the Omicron surge, they were calling for the restrictions, the gathering limitations, that no one said lockdown. And what I didn't like was that's what the Dr. Berg turned it into, which is dangerous. That's the danger of having political people making medical decisions, right? Is that he came on and he said, everyone's saying that, they want us to put in restrictions, but nobody wants a lockdown. Well, first of all, nobody said a lockdown, right? It could have been something with the occupancy. It could have been something with dropping the limits down further. It could have been just, in my opinion, something. As opposed to everyone's going to get it, let it run, you know what I mean? And I really pray that we are at the end of this. I do. But there's still a lot of people I know who have COVID, and I think that we've been successful for the most part. Everybody I know has been successful in carving out a life out of this pandemic, right? I mean, gone are the days of us staying in the house all day scared to leave, right? We just had to adjust, and it was a hard adjustment, but here we are, guys. We're going to work, right? I'm doing this show. You guys are dropping your kids to school. Your kids went to school when we were reporting 700, 800 cases, right? And so when Dr. Berg says that he feels like we're almost back to normal, I think that they just made this normal. Like this, you were just supposed to accept that, your kids are going to go to school. And I know, I mean, I'm not really like a fear kind of guy because, Governor Camacho was talking about there's fear, government's using fear. But I just don't like taking risks, and I didn't like how they took risks with our kids. I mean, it is what it is, right? My boy caught COVID and it was mild. He was down for like a couple days and then he was absolutely fine. And once that happened, I kind of got it a little bit, like what they were trying to do with this, calling this surge mild, right? But what I think that did was, and I'm not saying they should have come out and said like everyone's going to die, right? But I mean, the minute you came out and you said, it's going to be mild, whether it was the governor in her video or Dr. Berg in his videos, people just checked out. When they hear mild, they're like, there's freaking nothing to worry about, right? And then when you don't see the corresponding action from the government, that makes you think even further, must not be a big deal if they're not doing anything. And that's why we ended up with all these thousands and thousands of cases. It's 7/17, Wednesday, March 2nd. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because that was a great story from Daniel Perez. He's a young cat. We got some young guns on this KUAM news team, but you know what? They're passionate about what they do, and I love Daniel. I think he's doing a good job. Let's go on to the comments here, Facebook Live. Thank you, Chamarita Regis. Rosemary LaGuardia comments in here. Let's start with the CNMI issue. Politics brings out the devil side of themselves, not thinking they're working for the people. Jamie Lynn comments in here, if there's Jotnia rules in the legislature, then I can run for senator. Mark Santos comments here about the CNMI MMA incident with the senators. They're just passionate about their job, right? I feel that. I feel like they are very passionate. But I also feel like there's some frustration on the part of the Democrats because obviously they worked hard to get this whole impeachment thing at the Senate's door. And they're thinking that, the Senate is, it's Republican-led. They're going to do what they can do to kind of keep this thing from happening. So I feel their frustration, right? But, it is what it is. Let's see what we got here. We're on the KUAM News Facebook Live. Guys, are we on YouTube? Yes. We're on YouTube Live. Yes, I know the CNMI, a lot of them watch the CNMI stories on YouTube. So we are on YouTube Live. Twitter? No, we're not. Sorry, woke fam. We ain't on Twitter this morning, but we are on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. Rosemary LaGuardia comments in here, on Guam during press conferences and legislative hearings, you get muted. Yeah, absolutely true. I take that from me. I have been muted. Rosemary LaGuardia says, Guam legislative sessions, you were ruled out of order. She also goes on to comment, that latest announcement by Dr. Berg is similar to his Omicron surge ending on February 1st. Chamarita goes, yes, the plan they're coming up with, but in the end of every plan is wear your mask, wash your hands, and watch your distance. That is the plan. Ruth Ann Sanchez comments, lift, total. If it starts increasing the COVID, keep lifting. He thinks he's God. Rosemary comments, you're right, Chris. It says a lot about the governor when Dr. Berg speaks. Jamie Lynn, Dr. Ho has been the most consistent on the link, always giving the people information, answering all the questions we have. And Jamie Lynn says, yep, Dr. Ho was all for restrictions, but Adeloop did not listen. Yeah, so there's our comments, guys. 718. Polly Mike Chrysostomo is coming up here on this Ash Wednesday. We're going to take a really quick break and come back with more of the link next. Again, the minority leader, Senator Chris Duenas, is coming up on the show, which is brought to you by Calvo Enterprises, IT&E, and Jack in the Box. Buenas, good morning.
Catch Sports Link on the link every Friday for the latest sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. Sports Link airs every Friday on Breeze 93.9 FM and streaming online across our multimedia platforms. Sports Link is brought to you by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape and Taco Bell. Live Mas. It's Feed Me Fridays on the link. Good eats, good company, and beyond good chow with Team KUAM checking out Guam's most tantalizing, tempting menu items. Every Friday on the link, listen on Breeze 93.9 FM or stream online. Brought to you by Devondale, real milk from free grazing cows.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Got a question about your finances? You've come to the right place. Bring all your accounts together, even those that aren't with us, and see the big picture, right down to the smallest detail. Unlock powerful tools like Insights and Money Map that help you save time and take control of your finances. When you connect accounts with the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore. Stop on by and visit our showroom today. We offer everyday low prices on all major outdoor power equipment like bush cutters, chainsaw, power washer, generators, and more. Need service, repair, maintenance? Well, check out Guam's best superstore only at Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape, located in Barragata along Army Drive between Submarina and Besta Market. Call 735-7446 for more information. Now shipping to surrounding islands. Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore.
New Spicy Lovers Pizza from Pizza Hut. Hurts so good. With its spicy marinara and sliced red chilies. It's like a roundhouse kick to the taste buds. How's it looking? Don't be bashful with the fiery flakes now. I want it to be real spicy.
I haven't started yet.
Okay, I'm ready. The new Spicy Lovers Pizza. Get it while it's hot. You want respect? Red chilies get you respect. No one outpieces the Hut.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
Let us know what's up on our KOM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the CNMI, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
No bonus too hot for me.
That's hot, Bart.
Barnett.
Thank you.
I just get emotional in February because Valentine's.
Hey, good morning, 727. Viva Mestamaru! This is from the Guam Historic Preservation Trust. Ruby did a whole album, Sangsong Latekzan. This is about the Retidian village. And it's up on their website, I believe, right? 727, good morning. Again, Wednesday, March 2nd, Cabo Enterprises, ITD and Jack in the box. Waiting for Polly Mike. I'm pretty sure he might be just a little bit busy as they had 6:30 masses, right? And we do have the schedule here for Ash Wednesday. Sir, you pop that up? Yes, sir. Right on. So If you're looking maybe to go a little bit later, Assen is having 11 a.m. Ash Wednesday Mass. And then Barragata, San Vicente, San Roque, 6 p.m. And there is a noon Mass at 12 noon in Chalampago. Also, 12:15, Deditos, Santa Barbara. 7:30 p.m. at the Andrew Kim Church, which is right across here, Casulas. And then San Jose down in Inalahan, 6 p.m. And also 6 p.m. in Malolo. Okay, so, and also the Cathedral at 12:10. And then Maina at 6 p.m. Magani Heights, 6 p.m. Okay, morning, guys. 7:28. Yeah, so we're going to get Polly Mike on to talk about it. It's the first day of Lent, guys. So Ash Wednesday, of course, the significance of this is that Jesus is heading into the desert, right? I want to bring Senator Chris Duenas on here for the Minority Report. Good morning, Senator.
Alpha Day, Biba Mes Samoru.
Biba!
To the faithful today, be safe as you, trek out to get to Mass to start the Lenten season, and may we be prayerful and thoughtful during this Lenten season.
Right. Senator, I know I've seen you singing with the choir down at the cathedral, so, I mean, we couldn't get Polly Mike, but are you able to speak?
Oh, Chris.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. So what are you giving up for Lent, Senator, if you don't mind me asking?
First of all, there's a reason. I have a good friend who always reminds me that, church is not a hotel for holy rollers. It's a hospital for sinners. So most of us are there because we really need the help. So for me to speak on those matters, probably not going to happen. But I'm thinking pretty much going to give up red meat. I really enjoy my steaks.
Nice, yeah.
And so looking at giving up red meat.
I'm going to give up blue meat for Lent. That's all. No, I'm giving up rice, Senator. I decided to give up rice just this morning. This just in, giving up rice. Oh, thank you. Pinky commented in here. Mangilao has Mass, Santa Teresita, noon, 5 and 7 p.m. Good morning, Senator. So you're giving up red meat, right on.
Good morning. Yeah, I was listening to you on the way in, and
thank you. Thanks for listening.
I couldn't agree with you more on the issues of the public health emergency. I think when we compare, the two PAG chairs, right? Yeah. Physician Advisory Group chairs. The one thing that I saw that I thought Dr. Wen was trying to do was basically trying to move from the emergency to more the public health side, right? Which was the emergency, and just going back and thinking about it as we're in March now. I remember my wife and I sitting in our vehicle. We were going shopping. That we just happened to have been going shopping when the announcement was starting to come out. We were going to buy some groceries, and we sat in the car to listen to the advisory and what was going on. And a lot of the news coming out. Dr. Cabrera was on the radio, and I'll tell you, my wife is a nurse. And so immediately just talking about fear. I mean, I think we were all legitimately and properly scared.
Yeah.
Because we knew the onset of this was possible. And I remember we went in and we weren't wearing masks at the time because that wasn't really, the thing, right?
Yeah.
But I do remember this. This is when I started my bleach bath. Came home with all the groceries and went and got a container where I put, a few ounces of bleach, and then of course, proper ratio for the water. And I used rags to wipe off every single grocery that I purchased, even if it was a cereal box or something that I was going to be putting in the cupboard. Because what we knew at the time was, what we were told at the time really was that the reason why this virus is so dangerous and so difficult to manage is it's invisible, right? Well, most viruses are invisible. But what I mean is the contagiousness of it and the issue that you're walking around with people who have absolutely no symptoms, and they could be touching products that you're going to touch, or you could be within a space of them to catch something, and you wouldn't even know it, whereas you would know because another person typically who has the flu would be coughing, sneezing, and look symptomatic, right? So that started I did that for months, Chris.
Wow.
I think a lot of us did that for months. We would come home and basically, bleach wash our groceries and everything, wash the vegetables, 2-3 times, and then wash them before using. So I'm saying this because we're on that anniversary, right? And of course that during that time, the predictions were very dire. And much like our storm season, right? I think they tried to at one point match up even the conditions, right? Conditions of readiness almost matching. Yeah. So fast forward and moving, right? I'm a COVID survivor now, a year and a half. That August after that March of the onset, I caught the first variant, the first COVID original, I guess we could call it.
Right.
But
Alpha,
but the thing is, yeah. But the thing is that as it went forward and as we started to manage it, I think the thought was it would move into a situation where kind of like storm emergencies and other emergencies, or where you have rescue and recovery, right? So I when I saw what Dr. Wen was trying to do, my thought process was he was trying to move to having a public health system that was more robust and stood up to variants, and the whole medical system stood up to now kind of follow the onset of new variants and other things, as opposed to the emergency being blanket like you were talking about, and not making sense to a lot of people because they see all the traffic and all the things that are going on, but yet we're under a public health emergency and a lot of things come into play with that. So I was listening to you, and I agree with you that the difference is very stark, and I think there's a big difference before, well, everybody's going to get it, and well, let's plan, right? But let's plan on the public health side more, and keeping the people informed and doing more on that area for monitoring and trying to control it, as opposed to an emergency that's a blanket emergency that doesn't feel like an emergency.
Yeah, and I think we've had, we've seen all kinds with these doctors in this pandemic. With Dr. Cabrera, it was, what do they call him? Dr. Doomsday, right? He had made the prediction 7,000 deaths, and I think that whooped a lot of people into gear, you know what I mean? And maybe hearing that, and there were people who were very skeptical at the time. Maybe it just provided that impetus for people to wear the masks and to kind of, do what they had to do, because if you track like the deaths and stuff, it got worse later, and I think it's a lot of things. Senator, you're right. Both Dr. Hoa was always trying to really push the improvement of public health, contact tracing, of their testing, and so I see what you're saying is that he was really and at times critical of public health and their response, but it was coming from a place where he just really wanted it to get better. So that we can, return to normal, right? So I think we've seen all kinds, but I think when you have, Dr. Berg representing the Democratic Party in a media forum, to me, it's just kind of suspect. And it, like I said earlier, it just makes me take what he says kind of with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? I always put a little asterisk on every one of his interviews.
Well, I think also, Chris, if you notice too, right? I mean, a lot of some of the different chats that I'm on, I've got talk about giving up for Lent, right? And also I see Paulie Mike's coming on. Yeah. Also probably exercise, right? But with not only giving up but doing more, right? Helping people, and maybe that means walking the streets and exercising a little bit more and seeing where we can help, right? But the thing is a lot of my group and a lot of my friends have been saying, hey, we need to start talking about our health. We really, when you look at the DOAs and you look at a lot of these situations, the comorbidities are very, very extreme. And so the thing is that why are we not also making sure that that's a really, really huge emphasis, right? Yeah. This thing is, there's a lot of issues, and maybe people just taking a little bit better care of themselves, getting more proper rest, eating a little better, things like that can lower their comorbidities and their survival possibilities, right?
Senator, I kind of disagree with not what you're saying, right? But this idea, and I hear it from a lot of my Republican friends, This idea that, oh, we're not promoting health and wellness. Why aren't we promoting health and wellness? And I just got to say that we have been promoting health and wellness since long before this pandemic. I mean, it is a billion dollar industry. And I want to say it's almost an insult to everybody out here who works with these diabetes associations, who works with all these different groups that put out the messaging long before COVID, that do the eat the brown rice demonstrations, that talk about getting the exercise. So I don't agree that we haven't been promoting health and wellness. Now, I agree that, yeah, we should definitely elevate the discussion about it, but I feel like there are a lot of people who, and I know a lot of them, I mean, who have been in this community, who have been trying to get Guam healthy for years before the pandemic hit. So I think that that's always been a part of the conversation. Did it get lost in the clutter maybe? Well, yeah, there was about 20 million things going on in this pandemic. So maybe we just need to take that conversation that always existed and turn it up just a little more, Senator.
Well, and I think that's what most of the folks that have been giving me a hard time about it and stating that as well. I think it's another opportunity, right? It's another opportunity to concentrate on the fact that things that are coming our way, can be prevented. I think that's what most individuals who are really, really, adamant about those situations are. I think treatment also was slow in coming in terms of the full rollout. And seems like it took when treatments were here, it seems like it took a while to be able to say, get to these places for the monoclonal treatment and things like that. And I think there was a little bit of an agenda there to continue to try to push vaccination, which of course is extremely important. And those who know that they need it and believe that that's the best thing to do, it's been available. I got to say that that's been one of the really, really strong parts. I think that the capabilities that the Guard, as National Guard and others have put forward was really remarkable in terms of the numbers that they were being able to handle. I think testing, was strong, and it had its moments, right, in terms of saying maybe we should. I think maybe that modification could have come a little earlier in terms of those who are symptomatic versus non-symptomatic, especially when the surges hit, because, it was more important to know right away as much as possible, right? So that you could prevent yourself from being a spreader. So I think these are all the kind of after action discussions that are going on. But I do think that, you're correct. There's a stark difference between the two approaches. And I just wanted to mention that I agree with your analysis. Yeah. And
thank you for that, Senator.
Sure.
But I mean, I think we're going to have a lot of this conversation because we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of the start of the pandemic. So we're going to be playing clips on the anniversary right here on the show. I mean, I was just going back on the interviews that we've done, and I don't know if you guys want to go back there, but we're going after the anniversary of the 2-year pandemic. I mean, we're going to get the governor on here where the COVID is a bitch and all that stuff, man. It's going to be fun. Because you're right, when you look back at some of the things, the decisions that we made, I mean, it's very easy to be critical of them, right? And I'm not sure that people are going to fall. And, at the beginning of the pandemic, there was just this, it's unprecedented. It never happened. Remember, I don't know how many times I heard this unprecedented time, which it was an unprecedented time. But I think that people kind of bought that excuse for maybe the first year, right? And after a year living under this stuff, it's not really unprecedented anymore. But Senator, I wanted to ask, with Decision 2022, when you talk about kind of like hindsight, looking back over the start of the pandemic and the couple years that we've been under it, how much of looking back do you think is going to be part of this election this year on the gubernatorial side? Because I understand they want to look back and be critical, and I mean, obviously it'll resonate with a lot of people, but also I'm pretty sure that they feel like they got to tell people what they're going to be doing looking forward.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because when Governor Camacho announced, minutes after his announcement with Senator Ada, the first thing that happened coming out of the Democratic Party of Guam was looking back. And I got to say that I believe on your show and other shows, Senator Ada and Governor Camacho have done a very good job about talking about some very solid, issues and things that got done during the Camacho administration. No governor in the last 2 decades has built 5 schools. Governor Camacho did that. Governor Camacho's signature moment, and I say this because I was part of his cabinet, so I'm a little bit biased, but I led the public safety group under the Civilian Military Task Force. The Civilian Military Task Force gave birth to the Build-Up Office. And all of the federal relations that Governor Camacho had built, and Guam really starting to move forward on in terms of our federal grants, in terms of cleaning up things with regard to matching requirements and the like, a lot of that had to do with Governor Camacho. Governor Camacho also had a very good working relationship with Madeline Berdalio, our congresswoman. You know, I would laugh sometimes because during the when I was in the legislature as well, you know, just watching you know, the exchanges during the presentations of the conversations when the congresswoman would come and speak before the legislature, and you could see there was a genuine ability of those 2 individuals to work together. You know, Governor Camacho had his time, like every governor does with legislatures. That's just the design, right? That's the genius of the system. If you don't have a legislature that's grinding against the administration, then you don't have a tripart government that's working properly. Yeah. You know, in the end, the people win, right? When there's disagreements, but then we come together to find solutions based on information. So, in answering your question, the first thing was to look back and to criticize as unremarkable. But I'm going to say that there's a lot of things that will come forward that will show it was a very remarkable time in many areas with Governor Camacho. So, I think there will be enough looking back. I think looking back now, I think Governor Camacho was very gracious in saying that, you know, he wasn't at the helm, and it is difficult. You know, it is difficult to try to put yourself in the position of the governor at the time when an emergency hits and when different things hit, right? But I think that one of the contrasts is going to be the ability to communicate, the ability to work closer with those who also have a duty and a responsibility to take care of our island and our people. And so I think that more than looking back, I think it's going to be a contrast, a real contrast election. It's going to be a contrast in possibly style. It's going to be a contrast in you know, just a bit, like I said, interpersonal relationships and the ability to work with others. Yeah. So I think that's really what it's going to come down to, because also it's kind of interesting Governor Camacho running at this time, because you know, we don't know what the budget's going to look like after all these hundreds of millions of dollars and this unprecedented $4 billion that came to the island in the last 2 years. You know, it starts to wane in terms of that spending. And so I think, you know, as we go into the budget season, we'll be talking about that at the legislature as well. And Chris, I really think that, that, you know, you've heard from a number of our colleagues that are sounding the alarms, that we've really got to be careful going forward, that there are days ahead that I believe are going to be lean, and kind of interesting that, you know, should Governor Camacho be elected, he might be walking back into what he walked into over 20 years ago.
We just had a comment on that, Senator Duenas. Someone had commented in here, Governor Camacho had to clean up the spending done by Governor Carl Gutierrez. Give him credit. Interesting.
Well, I give him credit. I give the government credit for the work that it did during the time. You know, I mean, let's look, the record is what it is, right? Certainly, there was a lot of problems. Yeah. There was issues with regard to, you know, how we're accounting. You know, look, before we had the Board of Education, right? Before we had a solid system in place, we have a receiver at the Department of Education. Why do we have a receiver at the Department of Education costing us $3 million a year? Because of the fact that we had books when Public Auditor Brooks came in, the first public auditor, that she declared the books were unauditable. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's just a fact, right? That's not Chris Duenas trying to, you know, be mean to anybody or not give credit where credit's due. But the thing is that that's just the reality. And so the thing is that going forward, we have to, you know, basically celebrate our successes. We have a public auditor right now that I think really, anybody who's spending money in the government, has a reason to wake up in the morning and get to work and have a little bit of fear in them, that making sure that their numbers are correct and that the expenditures that are being done in a proper manner.
Yeah.
And procurement and the like. And I've never seen, Speaker BJ Cruz, Public Auditor BJ Cruz back away from any fight, regardless of what side of the fence it's on. So I think, Chris, this is what the people ask for. And that's what we have to present. And that's what we have to give them an opportunity to see who we are and what we're doing. Are we perfect? No. We're going to make mistakes, and we've made mistakes, myself included. But the thing is that if it's going to be looking back and looking forward, I think it's going to be quite a contrast, and I feel very confident in Governor Camacho.
Right on, Senator Duenas. I had a feeling you were going to say that. I got to get Polly Mike on, though, because we're getting blown up here on the Lent. But thank you. We gave you a good, hard 18 minutes. Appreciate it. Senator, I wanted to talk to you about some more current issues, and I'm sorry we kind of got caught up reflecting on the last couple of years. But like I said, I feel like a lot of that's going to be happening in the next few months. So we'll be sure to get you back on for the next Minority Report. Again, it's Minority Leader, Senator Chris Duenas. Thank you, Senator.
Hey, thanks a lot, Chris. Have a great day. And I think we need Polly Mike now.
Yeah, we're going to get people are wondering about is chicken meat. So I'm going to settle that once and for all again, because we ask it every year. We asked it when it was containing COVID. We asked it when it was the link. I'm about to ask it again. Thank you, Senator.
Many blessings. Take care,
you
Chris.
Too. Take it easy. Yeah, I mean, Senator Duenas is it's and I think that what he had said about minutes after the press conference started, the governor came out with the announcement about the Programa Salopi, and then you had the Democratic Party come out with a release calling Governor Camacho's 2 terms unmemorable and unremarkable. What do they expect, though? To me, I could just outside looking in, it just looked like a big flex. It looked like Lou and Josh saying, "Hey, you're in for a fight, guys," and that's the power of the incumbency. Wednesday, March 2nd, again, Ash Wednesday, first day of Lent. Polly Mike Crisostomo of St. Anthony joins us. Good morning, Polly.
Hi, good morning, Chris. How are you guys?
We're doing pretty good. I guess we'll just start. How was Ash Wednesday? How were Ash Wednesday masses this morning, Polly?
It was packed. Wow. I did 2 mass this morning at 6:30, and I didn't expect a big crowd this morning. It was my first time there this year because Father Lito retired, and so I've taken over as administrator in 2 months. So it's really a great joy to be there, but it was packed. It was nice to see the people once again.
Polly, we were wondering, what is the protocol, though, for Ash Wednesday in regards to relative to, like, how are we receiving the ashes and when we go to Mass today?
Sure. The commission, the liturgical commission, just recently remained, since last year, the protocols came out in 2021. So we're still following those protocols 2021. There were no restrictions lifted. Basically, this year, again, the ashes will be sprinkled on top of your head instead of the traditional forehead, and with the words repent and believe in the gospel. But no other changes other than that. They're still doing social distancing, mask wearing, sanitization, things like that. We're still keeping our guard up. We don't want it to, because of its congregation gathering. We want to make sure that the gov doesn't close us again. So we want to make sure that we're doing our part and ensuring the safety of our people.
Polly, it's election year. Nobody's getting closed. So we're doing the sprinkling of the ashes. Polly, I know I asked you on because I wanted to first start. We got a bunch of Lent questions, but can you share with our audience the significance of Ash Wednesday, like why the ashes?
Sure. It's a tradition in the Catholic Church back in days where when one was considered a sinner, especially publicly, they would be marked with ashes so that people know that they were sinners. And they went around the community with those ashes on their foreheads. Especially if they committed some kind of grave sin type of action, and that's how the church signified it. Maybe it was a preventive way, and you don't want to be seen as a sinner. Don't sin. But the church has come a long way, right? And so we have learned a lot about compassion and mercy. So the ashes now are a symbolic way of understanding that we are penitents, we are in need of forgiveness and mercy in our lives, and that comes from God. And we wear this as a sign of an act of humility, Chris, It's more of humbling ourselves, knowing that we are sinners. In fact, the readings today, the psalm echoes that, be merciful, Lord, for I am a sinner. And I think that's the whole theme of meeting around the Ash Wednesday, is to acknowledge that we are sinners and that we are looking for God's mercy.
Wow, it's interesting to me that that was the original intent of the ashes, when now I feel like in this day and age, the ashes are almost a sign of pride that you went to church. You know what I mean?
Correct. And then, it's hopefully it's a misinterpreted symbol or understanding, but I hope people understand the act of humility in itself, that it's just a wonderful way. And, sometimes we forget about it, we do this and we fit around. But it really, those are just ashes and it's just a symbol. But I think the real meaning really is the act of going to confession and then seeking God's mercy and forgiveness.
Okay, Paulie, let's go ahead and get into this here. We got a bunch of comments relative to someone had asked, is chicken meat? And I feel like we ask this question every year, and I don't know
every year.
I always forget the answer. But Glenn commented, let's have Paulie Mike further elaborate, because that has always been the argument about chicken. Growing up, chicken is meat. No meat on Ash Wednesday, Good Friday only. All other Fridays of Lent are optional if you want to abstain from meat. So just first of all, settle that argument. What the hell is chicken?
Yeah, chicken is meat, Chris. It comes from an animal. It's certainly flesh. And the word in Latin is carne, or in Chamorro is cut meat.
Yeah.
And so if you eat any meat, any flesh from an animal, of course, it's meat. And so again, look at the wider perspective of this. And we don't have to get so nitty-picky, on this. It's just, the idea is sacrifice. The idea is fasting and abstaining. It's a discipline, a spiritual discipline. I share this in the homily today in the morning mass. It's a spiritual discipline that will help us focus on what is necessary, what is important. And the idea of sacrificing what we like and what we want for the sole purpose of the forgiveness of sins and for maybe peace in the world. Many have said in tradition, fasting helps a spiritual discipline of prayer so that others can benefit from our fasting. And that's what that is. It's we can give up anything. It doesn't have to be that, but the church has asked as a discipline, as a practice, that we do that. But, some may want to give up, gossiping. Some may want to give up internet, something that's really more of a sacrifice, because nowadays we carry our cell phones all day. We don't let this go. Let's fast from cell phones. But we know that, the reality of that can be very difficult.
Yeah. Well, Paulie, so can I ask, what, I had the diabetes diagnosis last year, and Dr. Hoa told me to cut everything in half, but I just quit eating rice, but I reversed the diabetes, and I'm at a point where I eat rice like a couple times a week, and I usually eat it for lunch just so I can kind of try and burn it off the whole day, but I really love eating rice again, and it's something that, it's really important to me. So would that be, is that something that you would approve of if I gave up rice for Lent?
Yes, indeed. In fact, I'm in the same boat. I had a head start because I knew Lent was coming. I already started fasting, abstaining from rice, just so I can begin to, get that. So I have rice at least in breakfast. The rest of the day, I can go without rice.
Yeah.
But at least for breakfast. And that's my one time. And so that's my fasting, is just try to just have that meal for the day and then just liquids the rest of the day. But it's hard. It's difficult, especially when you get invitations to go out. Let's meet for lunch, let's meet for dinner. So it's very hard.
Yeah, Paulie, I mean, I announced I gave up rice this morning, and then a couple of my coworkers texted me that they were bringing in fried rice. So, temptation already on the first day.
That's harsh. That's harsh.
Paulie, what about the next 40 days? What's in store, and what do you want Island Catholics to reflect on during this Lenten season?
This Lenten season is unique. I think with recent events in the church, this is a moment for the church to continue to seek forgiveness and mercy upon one another. I think this is a moment where the church needs, as leaders of the church especially, that we reach out to our people and set the example of forgiveness and seeking forgiveness. That is not only that we have to forgive others, but we also have to ask for forgiveness for ourselves. And I think this season of Lent, I hope and pray that all of us in the church will continue to remain faithful, remain together, persevere in the faith, not to give up, but to put our faith and trust in our God, who will walk with us during the season of Lent. He has not abandoned us. He's walking with us in spite of what's going on with the pandemic or with the church crisis. Our God is there with us. And I think our people will feel that this season of Lent because they will come closer to knowing him and loving him.
Yeah, it's hard, Polly, for this time of year. I can't help but go back to 2020 when we didn't have, Easter, remember?
Correct. And we closed churches.
Yeah.
And although we had masses live stream, and I guess the silver lining in all of that is that the church was able to reach out to more people who would not even come to church before are now signing on and going on live stream masses. And so there's some benefits to that. But I think God had a purpose for all of this, and we're just going through all of that right now and seeking what were good things that would happen and some of the not good things. So, but I'm glad our people are back into churches, and there's still some that are very fearful. And that's well respected, but I think people need to continue to have faith and come out and go to the churches.
Yeah, I think for me, what did it when we were able to return to mass, because the live stream is cool, but when the churches were closed, I think for a lot of people it was that don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah.
Right. And so when the churches opened up, I was like, I'm going. That's it, and I've been going ever since. On a pretty good streak, Polly. It's 7:59. Could we end in a prayer? I don't know if I know you've done a lot of praying this morning, but if you could just
there's always room for a prayer.
Thank you, Polly.
In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, amen. Good and gracious God, you are the true source of goodness. There are many of our people who cry out to you today and look for your guidance, for your support and your love, especially. Many who have been offended and hurt by the church, we ask for forgiveness. But there are many who continue to persevere in their faith, and we thank you for the blessing of the Holy Spirit to continue to guide us and to give us that strength not to give up, but to always to believe and trust in you, the God who's always there with us. And during the season of Lent, we pray, be merciful, Lord, for I am a sinner. And may the blessings of Almighty God be with you all, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Viva Santa Maria Carmelin!
Viva!
Thank you, Polly Mike.
Anytime, Chris. God bless you.
God bless you too. Polly Mike Crisostomo. There you go. A little Lenten discussion for you guys. That is so interesting to me that it started, and I didn't know the history of that it started with people being basically marked, kind of like almost like a scarlet letter kind of thing, right? You had the ashes that meant you were a sinner. I don't think we have enough ashes to put on all of the sinners on this island. It's 8 o'clock, KUAM FM, Agotni, Guam. Thank you so much, Polly Mike. We're brought to you by Calvo Enterprises, ITD, and Jack in the Box. It is Ash Wednesday. We popped up the Ash Wednesday schedule all over our Facebook Live feed, and then we have our 8 o'clock news brought to you by Pacific Points coming up with Sabrina Salas Matanani right here on the link. And then Superintendent John Fernandez joins the show for all things education. That's all coming up right here on the link. It's 8 o'clock. Quick break, and we're back with our 8 o'clock news. Good morning.
Get your dancing shoes on and be prepared. Watch Mariana's artists, activists, and visionaries and their quest to protect, preserve, and promote our Chamorro culture on the Culture Club, a weekly feature on KUAM News digital platform and the KUAM News Weekend Edition. Brought to you by Hanam, the freshest bottled water made in Guam.
No bone is too hot for me.
That's hard, Barnett. Thank you.
I just get emotional in February because Valentine's.
KUAM Communication is your go-to source for the biggest national and international sports events. Check out KUAM TV8 and KUAM TV11 for the biggest sports specials, championships, and events from every court, track, field, and playing ground. We're bringing you all the action and excitement. Brought to you locally by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape and Docomo Pacific. See what's on TV tonight with schedules, network news and notes, local promotions and giveaways on KYM Communications social media pages. Like and follow us on Facebook or Instagram now for all the latest and never miss out.
Let us know what's up on our KOM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the CNMI, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
Uno Mixed. We're mixing it up on the last Thursday of every month with a look at lifestyle, entertainment, food, and so much more on the stations, networks, and digital platforms of KUAM Communications.
Uno Mixed is presented to you by Docomo Pacific, Better Together, and Pepsi. That's what I like.
FM.
Ay sinati untungo tagi tiningo puthagu jatiwa saka hau jangen undingu lohuli hagi pani jahan lagu gi matamu Zapata tu maski pa bel sangan Lau tu hongi telu Na pon na puti du na pagu Ni guahu gagagi magagi fionmu Aku magiga pagam Zabel sangan ni histura Sahabu Apu magiga pagahu Zabil sangan ni istura sahagu zahu.
Hey, good morning, BMS tomorrow. Just going over some of the comments before we get to the news. You know what, Polly Mike had talked about the churches being closed, and then with the live streams, it was kind of a blessing because it brought a lot of people who maybe didn't go to church normally. Would jump on that stream. Len commented in, there are reasons. Everything happens. Everything happens for a reason. And he said it was when Santa Maria Kamalin drove around the island for the first time. That's right, because they closed the churches and there was a pandemic. They started that, and I think that's something they should kind of continue here. And there was a funny comment from Rosemary LaGuatnia along the lines of, can we just tell the Sakis to give up robberies for Lent? I am all in on that one, as there's just been... a string is not even a word anymore. Rash of robberies, right? And we've got more on that in the news. Tato 6, brought to you by Pacific Points. Let's go ahead and get into our 8 o'clock newscast right here on the link with the very latest from the KUAM news team. Good morning, Sabrina Salas Matanani.
Hafide, good morning. More cases of the stealth variant have been confirmed to be on Guam. Public Health has received more virus samples that were sent to Hawaii for genome sequencing. Out of 10 virus samples collected from January 31st, 9 were identified as BA.2. This is a spin-off of the Omicron variant, which is said to be more contagious than the original Omicron. Additionally, at 12:01 early this morning, the isolation facility at the Bayview Hotel in Tumon was closed. According to the Joint Information Center, however, Gov Guam has opened an alternative lodging facility at the Garden Court in Tumon. According to the JIC, individuals who test positive for COVID can utilize the ALT-FAC if they meet strict public health screening criteria. If you want to be admitted to the ALT-FAC, you're advised to call 311 and select option 1 for screening. Despite the JIC's previous announcement that the vaccination clinic at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse was shutting down operations on February 26th, today, March 2nd, is actually now the final day of operations. The UOG Vax Clinic officially shuts down at 2 o'clock this afternoon. It will then transition to the Guam Community College Multipurpose Auditorium opening on March 4th. While walk-ins are accepted, residents are urged to make appointments at tinyurl.com/VaxGuam. Meanwhile, 2 more deaths connected to COVID-19 were reported Tuesday by JIC, bringing the total number of virus-related fatalities to 330. Additionally, another 273 new cases of the virus were reported out of 1,667 tests analyzed on February 28th. Of those tests, 36 were reported through DOD. Hospitalizations for COVID are at 32, with 20 patients at GMH, 20 at GRMC, 2 at Naval Hospital. 25 are vaxxed, 7 unvaxxed. To date, there have been a total of 44,846 officially reported cases. Again, 330 deaths, 3,383 cases are in active isolation, and there have been more than 41,000 recoveries. In the CNMI, they're reporting that 9 people are now hospitalized. 1 is unvaccinated, 7 vaccinated, 1 partially vaccinated. The region also reports 174 new cases, bringing the total case count in the NMI to 9,724. Of those cases were identified on Tinian, 10 in Rhoda. 56.9% of the CNMI's population have received a booster shot. Although COVID cases remain in the triple digits, hospitalizations are on the decline now. The Physicians Advisory Group has plans on possibly lifting more restrictions in the coming weeks. Daniel Perez reports.
I think we could say we're coming out of a surge and hopefully seeing the worldwide end of the pandemic and back down to a baseline.
Chair of the Governor's Physicians Advisory Group, Dr. Nathaniel Berg, believes we're close to an end against the COVID-19 virus, with no new variants being reported worldwide. With that, he confirmed the PAG has been meeting with the governor to possibly ease more restrictions in the coming weeks.
This week, we are looking at sort of designing a plan of loosening things step by step and watching to make sure there's no threat to the hospital. That's the big one. And I anticipate that over the next several weeks, it will getting closer and closer to normal.
Dr. Berg added, with the step-by-step approach, the PAG can determine what lifted restriction could be causing the COVID numbers to rise. As for the next possible lifted restriction,
the next thing we'll be looking at is increasing the number for gatherings, both indoors and outdoors, would be the next thing that seems to be okay in other communities and even isolated communities.
Dr. Berg stated with each restriction lifted, the PAG is closely monitoring the COVID situation to check if it gets better or worse. Ultimately, it's the governor who decides what restrictions will be lifted next. Daniel Perez reporting for KU.
Thanks, Daniel. An update on the invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine says at least 5 people were killed in a Russian attack on a television tower in Kyiv. It followed deadly explosions earlier in the day in Kharkiv's Freedom Square. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky called the strike an act of terror, saying there were no military targets in the area. The assault on Ukraine's second largest city comes as Russia's 40-mile military convoy rolls closer to the country's capital. In Kyiv, crowds packed the train station to flee the city as the biggest ground war in Europe since World War II enters its 6th day. Meantime, Russia is finding itself increasingly isolated by tough economic sanctions and disapproval among world leaders. Also in a sign of solidarity, European Union ambassadors at a UN conference walked out with Ukraine when Russia's foreign minister began his address. Additionally, 200 American troops landed in Germany this week. They are part of NATO's eastern flank. President Biden set to deliver a State of the Union address today. You can watch it live at 12 o'clock noon today on Channel 8 and Channel 11, with encore repeats at 8 p.m. on Channel 8 and 9 p.m. on TV 11. 37-year-old Matthew Manabusen is taking a plea deal in the 2021 death of Joshua Meno. Manabusan appeared before Superior Court Judge Vern Parrish yesterday, where he pled guilty to negligent homicide. The plea agreement calls for Manabusan to serve 3 years in the Department of Corrections, followed by 2 years of home detention. Menno's family also was present and approved of that plea agreement. According to court documents, Menno was having dinner at Manabusan's home when an argument between him and one of Manabusan's family members erupted. Menno then allegedly injured the family member on the neck with a machete, and in return, Manabusan shot Menno with a pistol. His body was then found along Swamp Road. Armed robberies are on the rise as Guam has seen more than a handful of small businesses targeted by criminals. Hannah Devonzo reports.
Over the last several weeks, a slew of businesses on island have come face to face with armed robbers. On Sunday, it was Dream Market in Sinahanya, and on Monday night around 11 p.m., Ipao Market in Tamuning. Tamuning Mayor Luis Rivera.
With that robbery in particular at the store, I mean, you know, we just never know. A lot of times we just go into the store to buy a drink, real quick. We're just going to run in the store, buy something, buy medicine or what have you. And then to, not knowing who's behind you or who's going to be in the store, holding a gun to you. It's just terrible.
According to the manager of Ipao Market, 2 men believed to be in their 20s came into the store wearing hoodies. One was in a black hoodie and the other was wearing white. One man was guarding the front door holding a gun and the other at the cash register with a machete. While they did not injure the woman, they took about $500 from the cash register. One way village members can protect themselves from crime is by being prepared.
Is just to be alert and aware and report in, what shouldn't be there, to protect themselves, as in, to have the tools necessary to protect themselves, like even just a whistle or a horn, bells. I mean, when something's going on, if somebody's coming towards them or breaking in, alarm system.
The men were seen leaving the area in a white vehicle. This is an open investigation, and if you know any information on the event or witnessed anything suspicious around 11 p.m. on Ipao Road, contact the Guam Police Department immediately at 671-475-8615. Hannah Devonzo for KUAM News. KUAM News.
Thanks, Hannah. After being charged with attempted possession of methamphetamine hydrochloride with intent to distribute, 24-year-old Peter Quifunas found himself in quite some trouble. In September of 2021, investigators with the Postal Inspection Service searched a package that contained over 400 grams of meth hidden inside small balloons that were concealed in paint bottles. On Monday, Quifunas accepted a plea deal that was filed in the district court. This implies that once pleading guilty to the charges, the U.S. will move for a 3-level downward adjustment in the offense level. He faces a minimum term of 10 years imprisonment. The Guam Contractors License Board finally met after not doing so for several months. There was a lot to unpack, including the resignation of their former executive director. Tyler Matanani reports.
During a board meeting, the Guam Contractors Licensing Board approved the resignation of former Executive Director Cecile Buddy Orsini and appointed Linda Ibanez as the acting Executive Director. A resolution passed by the board in 2019 allowed Orsini to authorize the renewal of licenses, testing, essays, and written decisions and findings without the quorum of the board. But the board now wants to rescind this. CLB board member Selena Ashlin.
That authority was given with the understanding if there was no issues with the application, no red flags, that are raised, that if all things are in good order, that the director would have the authority then to approve, and this was also, in an attempt with the intent to be more effective and expeditious in the renewal process. So I want to clarify that it wasn't a blanket authority to approve any application that came across the director's desk.
Right.
If there was even one question, it was to be brought to the board.
The board also rescinded the findings and decisions for JMI Edison and G4S Security because they exceeded Orsini's authority. Last month, the public auditor dismissed appeals made by both JMI Edison and G4S Security after they alleged their competing winning bidders lacked a specialized contractor's license. Both companies also emailed a proposed findings to the former executive director, who signed off on the documents without the presence of other CLB board members. Orsini later resigned after public auditor BJ Cruz alleged fraud. Assistant Attorney General Tom Keeler.
What we've got in these two findings and decisions that were issued by Mr. Orsini, both parties being the contractors, were afforded no opportunity to appeal to the board or to make an argument that the CLB staff was incorrect.
However, during the meeting, CLB investigators confirmed that JMI Edison's competing bidder, Menzies Aviation, did in fact lack the appropriate contractor license, and that the only potential error in the prior investigations were the titles of the document. JMI Edison has since taken their case to court. The matters of JMI Edison and G4S remain open and will be revisited when the board reconvenes on March 16. Reporting for KUAM News, I'm Tyler Mazzanani. Reporting for KUAM News, I'm Tyler Mazzanani.
Thanks, Ty. The Guam Department of Education appeared before the legislature to discuss several topics, including the 180 days of instruction required for students, as well as service learning hours. With more, here's Isaiah again.
To be in full compliance with the law, the Guam Education Board, Guam Department of Education heads, and public school administrators were in attendance this morning virtually, requesting lawmakers to put an extension to the waiver of 180 days of instruction and service learning hour requirements for students. GDOE Superintendent John Fernandez.
We asked that both the waiver of the 180 days as well as the waiver of service learning be extended to cover these 3 years of the pandemic.
Despite the island continuing to report triple-digit COVID-19 numbers, Fernandez hopes to resume normal operations next school year.
Our intention really is for next school year to try to get back to a normal schedule. And we think that, over the past 3 months, as past couple of months, as we've reopened for 5 days of instruction through the worst of the Omicron wave, we feel that, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to do that going forward.
Meanwhile, some concerns arose about how GDOE is tackling the loss of instructional time. However, GEB member Maria Gutierrez says not to worry.
The survey that they conducted all by themselves, and these are for high school students, is the result came back that 63% of the students that were surveyed said there was no learning loss. But what's interesting with the comment that they also provided is, and let me just read, please. Although this year has been hectic, teachers have figured out how to fit almost every lessons they wanted us to learn.
If such policy does not pass, some 24,000 students would have to make up at least 24 days of instruction.
These are the students. They were the ones that were impacted, but they feel that they shouldn't make the 24 days. So just please consider.
Reporting for KUAM News, Guahusi Isaiah Uggan.
It is now the aftermath of a near brawl in the NMI Senate among lawmakers at opposite sides of the aisle amid Governor Ralph Torres' impeachment process. Lawmakers in the House weigh in as the Senate says they should keep their hands off. Tomas Manglotnia.
I sincerely apologize for the demeanor of the session, and I will be informing you all on the next session to address the matter before the Senate.
That apology coming after a near 1-2 punch in the Senate. House lawmakers protest the proposed impeachment trial rules, and senators erupt into chaos over its own proceedings. Senator Hofschneider says the Senate isn't out of bounds, and the lower house should keep its hands off their authority when it comes to the playbook. House Speaker Edmund Villagomez from the left corner firing back with a response of his own.
And just asking for a little more breathing room, a little more fairness, I guess. But I'm not arguing the fact that at the end of the day, it's the Senate's call on how they're going to carry out the process on their end.
He isn't alone. Most public comments before the Senate's abrupt adjournment Monday came from lawmakers.
Only a cheater, afraid of the rules of the game, stacked the decks with 5 aces.
Democrats want rules that allow them to select the House prosecutors for the trial, equal rules for proving a burden of proof in their case, and an open forum that allows the public to comment on the rules, unlike during its adoption in a Senate Joint Committee meeting last Friday.
I urge this body to make appropriate amendments to produce impeachment rules that are fair to the process and to the people. Thank you.
And not good news for purse strings, as prices at the pump have increased by 10 cents. It's now $5.49 a gallon. That's your news.
Wow,
For
really?
KUAM.
You're going to end on that note.
Yeah, I'm done. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Chris?
Sabrina Salzmantanani. Dang, up another 10 cents?
Yep.
Just get it over with. Raise it to $8.
No.
Yeah, $8.22. Yeah, so with the gas, I know that there was a couple of things. Well, there's the Programa Salapi, which I want to say a couple weeks from now they should be coming out, launching the program, I believe.
It launches on March 15th, which is the 2-year anniversary since we first got our first 3 confirmed cases of COVID.
Thank you, Bree. Bree, do you know, though, if it's the same eligibility? Have they said if it's the same eligibility?
The Department of Administration is supposed to come up with the eligibility requirements, so we're just waiting to hear from Mr. Byrne.
Thank you. So they have not announced what the eligibility is going to be, or if it's going to be the same eligibility as the Programa Salapi. Of course, there was a letter from Senator Moylan, I think, where he was asking the governor to raise like whatever income threshold they're planning to use. It's 8:23. We're going to go ahead and take a break. Again, our 8 o'clock news. Oh, we're going to do Chamorro News. Our 8 o'clock news is brought to you by Pacific Points, and Chamorro News is brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank with Uncle Ken Conception right here on the link. Ash Wednesday, good morning.
Buenos Anapades to get some to be finut sa morgan ni KUAM News. Presenta ni Familian Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank. Gimates ano gibenan West Superior Court of Guam, Vern Perez, si Matthew Manibusan, 36 años na edad, pero tulay kay Zonia plea na hearing. Matsaki sa Manibusan yung negligent homicide, prifinay tay Joshua Meno. Masoda tatautan niya si Meno, gi-abrit na mes, gimapasasakan, gi-Swam Road, gi-zadededu. Iman stabi gi-hearing sa familia ni biktima, nung ma-aprebate nila ka ni plea. Ikontrata sa paro mapreso sa Manibusan, gi-Department of Corrections, 3 años na tempo, pwes tinatizi ni 2 años, yung manasagay gigima sinudingo. Sigon ni dokumento ni Korte, sumesa na si Meno gi Manibusan, ayaw magumento dyan uno gi familiar niya si Manibusan. Ana fa matsetno si Meno igagaw niya itautaw ni matsiten niya, dadyan na pinakis Manibusan. Maskin ni Korte, después ni matsaki po da kekesusteni methamphetamine hydrochloride ro distribute, aso da may sagi si Peter Kefunas, 24 años na edad, gimosin at poroto. Di September 2021 nasakan, investigador de Postal Inspection Service sa marekonosi yung pakete ni sa kanini 400 grama na methamphetamine. Gihalo mabubo siya, ni umaato, gisanhalo yung mapenta na buteza siya. Gilunes sa aksepta si Kefunas kontrata ni Zonia plea, numafile ni U.S. District Court of Guam. A implikas tinang gana plead guilty para di matsakinya ifidira sa maribaha just biyahi papa ifinete ni matsakinya. Afafana si Kefunas si mastak papa na sinintensya no 2 años gi tribunal. Masa sunto, per celebration si Mananlay Pat Law Week, Judiciary of Guam sa mga nagsasepta nominasyon siya para 2022 Justicia Award. Yuto muna diyan na sinya masamiti as na nominasyon sa D8 gi abrid. At Justicia Award sa recognize sa un persona para organisasyon ni man contribute ginadalang to nominasyon Justicia sa ni menawli ka gobernamento. Gimapos na sakan ni Gumana Justicia Award sa retiraw na West Magistrate Makian V.E. Manibusan Jr. Gimanmapos na tempo siya ay rumisipi estisya na award sa Erica's House dyan ni Nafa Molik. Inaminasyon sa David Ginatsunya Stedmento pwede maazang ni Timas ki 250 na palabras. Sa miti nominasyon siya ay gi-ofisina ni Clergy Superior Court. Yuto mo na santo gifinut sa Moro para pagko na Merkulis gini KUAM News para upresenta si President Joe Biden in Johnny State of the Union Address pagko na dia. Nasinadya sa minat kay masatrasaw na presenta gini Presidente State of the Union Address gati Kongreso ng Amerika yung lugar di duputsi Enero pat Febrero na mes. A presenta si Biden kolantay gwini esta kasi 100 dias na tempo diste na Presidente gimapos na sakan gi-abrid. Sino na igay Johnny State of the Union Address si Biden. Gilas 12 gitaloan yung pagko na dia gi Channel 8 jan Channel 11 gi KUAM na stasyon television. Pero man open taro lamon ang gilas 8 gi Channel 8 jan das 9 gi Channel 11. Para Guam News Network, Guam Sikin Conception. Yasuto gifinut sa Moro sa presenta sa ninafato ni Familian Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Got a question about your finances? You've come to the right place. Bring all your accounts together, even those that aren't with us, and see the big picture, right down to the smallest detail. Unlock powerful tools like Insights and Money Map that help you save time and take control of your finances. When you connect accounts with the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage. With generations of Filipinos calling Guam home, KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
New Spicy Lovers Pizza from Pizza Hut. Hurts so good. With its spicy marinara and sliced red chilies. It's like a roundhouse kick to the taste buds. How's it looking? Don't be bashful with the fiery flakes now. I want it to be real spicy.
I haven't started yet.
Okay, I'm ready. The new Spicy Lovers Pizza. Get it while it's hot. You want respect? Red chilies get you respect. Knowing our Pizza's the Hut.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Join Nestor Lecanto for virtual in-depth discussions with the movers and shakers in our community every Wednesday on In Full Zoom. Presented by IT&D and Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
No bonus too hot for me.
That's hard.
Barnett!
Thank you.
I just get emotional in February because Valentine's.
Watch Mariana's artists, activists, and visionaries and their quest to protect, preserve, and promote Archimoto culture on the Culture Club, a weekly feature on KUAMU's digital platform and the KUAMU's Weekend Edition. Brought to you by Hanam, the freshest bottled water made in Guam. Catch Sports Link on the Link every Friday for the latest sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. Sports Link airs every Friday on Breeze 93.9 FM and streaming online across our multimedia platforms. Sports Link is brought to you by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape and Taco Bell. Live Mas.
On Breeze 93.9 FM.
Monday's child, cause your fair face is the only thing I see when I walk in the place. I watch you glow in the sun as you walk past me slowly. I whisper, take a breath and say, oh man, if only. But no, not even one look, not even a glance. I'll go home to feel like, man, I'll never get a chance. One day I promise my motivations will change. When I've got nothing left to lose and everything to gain, I'll drop sweet lines, ask if you like the way my band plays. I ask you what you're signing, what you usually do on Saturdays, and if you've had any dreams that have ever come true. And if you can see in me all the things I see in you, even if we don't have a future, could we still have a past? Do things, go to places, make memories to last. I swear I don't want a lifetime, wanna meet me in the nighttime for 3 or 2 or 1 night. Just show me it's the right time.
Show me it's the right time. Show me it's the right time. Show me it's the right time.
Just show me it's the right time.
Show me it's the right time. Show me it's the right time. Show me it's the right time.
Yeah, just show me it's the right time. I'm Friday's child, I'm loving and giving. Born under Mars, so I work hard for a living. Every dream I've ever had.
Hey, good morning. Viva Mes Tomorrow, 831. I love this song, man. Rachel Esteves, Pulantet in the house. And Chris Boomer. I think Boomer is in the States, right? He like moved there or something? Maybe. We had a comment here. Yeah, there's a comment. Hiya, Day. So Mayor Luis Rivera, we did a story with Hannah Devonzo. She's been doing a great job covering crime. There's been a lot of crime, right? And then at the same time, these robberies have been occurring. The governor and the chief of police have been doing these village crime meetings. They do one in Barragata, right? But it's just, man, and it's not just the robberies. I mean, we're talking about murders. They found a body. Found a body that was just so decomposed that the only way they're hoping to identify this person who they believe was murdered is through the tattoos, right? That's the kind of stuff that's happening in the news lately. But anyway, Mayor Luis Rivera had said something about, it was like Hannah asked her, hey, what can people do just to be safer? And she said, oh, get yourself a whistle or a bell. Right, and the idea being that the whistle, when should you be attacked or whatever, you blow that whistle and then someone will hear it, and then theoretically, good people will come to your aid and rescue you. Right? I mean, I hope that's how it works. But I said that because there was a comment here from Chamarita Reyes. She goes, yep, how is that going to stop the thieves, a whistle or a bell? When looking at the Dream Market robbery, the people just watched the guy walk out. If that was me, I would have gotten in my vehicle and just follow the person and try to get an exact description while calling 911. Also tell 911 the description of the vehicle you are in. Right. Good point there. And I often wonder that, right, guys, when you see these like CCTV, the footage of these different robberies. There was one that we played on the news the other day, and a lady had walked in the store like right before the guy robbed the store. I remember she kind of like, and it wasn't really clear because she was off by the drink cooler, but she actually exited the store while it was being robbed. And I often ask myself, as guys, right, these guys are just dumb. I know some of my friends and I were to go, oh, we're going to walk into a store, he's getting robbed, like, Toka, they're going to get it. Wow, you better look out. I will go and tackle that guy and just beat him down. That's what we say, right? But when you're in the situation, you never really know how you're going to react or if you are even going to react. I mean, I talk a big game like, yeah, if that was happening at the store I was in, bro, I'd like double leg the guy, pick him up, slam him down. But probably what's going to happen is somebody like, oh, you know what I mean? Especially if there's a weapon involved. But we got to get a handle on this stuff, man. I mean, I just feel like it's out of control. And I understand every time we talk about crime, what do they say? Well, we're hiring more police officers. Well, where the hell are they? Right? And it's just reached this point where they're robbing stores at 7 o'clock at night, broad daylight even. Right? I like the old school criminals, the ones that are like scared. These ones now are just too brave. So, yeah, that was Chamarita Reyes' comment on that. Get a whistle or a bell. And then I told Bree when we played that story, whistle, bell, or a rocket launcher. I think I'm picking the rocket launcher. 8:35, Wednesday, March 2nd. Let's go ahead and get into the KUAM newsroom where we have the Guam Department of Education Superintendent John Fernandez standing by. And we've also got our education reporter, Isaiah Uggan, in the Link studio. Good morning, Isaiah.
Good morning. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you, my friend. John Fernandez, GDOE. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning. Good seeing you guys.
Right on. I got to ask, did you give up something for Lent?
Well, I was listening to you guys earlier, and it's always hard. I don't know if it's just age or what, but there's so many things to give up that it becomes hard. I mean, I think obviously what I think will be helpful this Lenten season in terms of sacrifice is also, like you said, some of the things we can do for our personal health. I don't know about you. I mean, I think it's been good for those who've been able to keep up with their health regimen, during the pandemic. But with the additional pressures and anxieties and stresses, I think that's really been something for me that I've that I've really had a hard time kind of dealing with over the last couple years. And so, to the extent I can, looking at cutting back on those foods like rice and soda, I think would be just easy ones. I mean, also I think due to age, growing, I think hopefully it's wisdom. We use this opportunity to just reflect and to look at ways we can improve the way we handle our own behaviors and actions and thoughts towards others. And it's been a tough time. I think a lot of fear in the air and anxiety over the last couple of years. So I think looking at ways to really kind of move and be a little bit more positive and encourage that positivity in our interactions with others during a time where we know it's going to be more difficult. It's a political year. Everybody's got lots of things to disagree about. But at the end of the day, I noticed, of course, during COVID-19, the way that things just really bled into the personal relationships. We used to be able to disagree with each other, but to the extent that things that separate families, and whether it's politics or whether it's just the COVID-19 situation, we've seen the way it's divided people. And I'm really hopeful that maybe during this Lenten period, we can reflect on how we have been participated in that, and hopefully find a way to overcome that spirit of being overly defensive or sharp-tongued or whatever it is that we've been doing, that we might be a little bit more compassionate towards others in our situation. So that's good that you guys had a chance to talk to a few others. And it's good to remember, for those who didn't realize, time's flying, and it's Ash Wednesday today. So we're glad to be able to mark the beginning of the Lenten season, and remember there are still things that bind us together, even as we go through these very trying a couple of years. It seems longer than that, but when you say this is the anniversary, it's 2 years, and it's hard to believe. Just this morning, I ran into a graduate of our high school who graduated probably at least school year 2020. And I said, boy, I haven't seen you for years. But really, it hasn't been that long. It just feels like we've been through so much, since then. Even Isaiah looks like he's been out of school for like 10 years already.
Yeah, no, I was a 2020 graduate at BFK High School.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Longest 2 years ever, right, guys?
Right.
Yeah. Feels like so much time has passed, Isaiah, but for sure, it's only been a couple years, and normally we keep tabs with how people are doing, how they're growing, how they're the new adventures. But in some ways, we've lost contact because we just haven't been able to see each other and be out there in the community like we normally do.
Well, John, that was a great talk, actually. And I want to turn it over to Isaiah. Good points that you made there. A different little tone there from the Superintendent, John Fernandez. Back to business, though. Isaiah Uggan covers education for KUAM News, so take it away, Isaiah.
Good morning, Superintendent Fernandez. Yesterday, there was a virtual information hearing over at the Guam legislature, and, you guys had several discussions to talk about, several topics, And, briefly, can you share what you took away from the instructional days and service learning hour requirement when you guys spoke with lawmakers?
Well, first of all, the legislature did waive the service learning and the 180-day requirement early on in the pandemic. It wasn't even much of a discussion. They understood the disruption that the pandemic, brought to the island. If you remember, we shut down in March, and then we just stayed shut down to the end of the school year. So that was a pretty simple change that they made. And really what we're asking with regard to the waiver is simply to extend it for the last couple of years, and really to ensure that we don't have this confusing narrative out there about whether or not we made it or missed it and so forth. So mechanically speaking, they've already done a waiver. We just asked that it cover the period of this pandemic where for one reason or another, the school year, public and private schools have all been shut down for one reason or another. So last school year we were shut down. I think before the first day of school, for us, and then this current school year we were shut down during the month of September. So just recognizing that this is a disruption to our normal instructional time that we're able to provide, giving us the flexibility to figure out how we want to address those needs, the needs of our students, looking forward and looking ahead and hoping that we can return to normal, to some kind of normal next school year. And I think, our experience over the last couple of months where we really withstood the pressure to close during Omicron, we were able to get through that, support the schools in terms of their staffing shortages. We hope it doesn't get worse than what we just went through. We certainly are glad that it wasn't that the virus wasn't as consequential in terms of health consequences for our community, like it's been in the past waves. And if it improves going forward, we should be able to return to that 5 days, to keep with the 5 days of instruction for all students. And remember, before we can address learning loss, before we can address service learning, before we can address all of these things, one of the fundamental things we have to accomplish is keeping schools open.
Yeah.
So that's why it's really key. And I just want to comment that I saw this quote on social media. I think it came from a teacher, and it was basically the sentiment that, we are not only are we going through the pandemic, but at the tail end we're being evaluated as if the pandemic never happened.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that as we go through this, we don't lose sight of the fact that there were so many things happening over the past couple of years that we're not asking to be held less accountable. We're asking to be held to the reality of what happened over the past couple of years that prevented us from opening school doors to kids, that prevented us from teaching in the traditional ways in which we've always been taught, prevented us from assessing kids in the ways we would normally assess kids, and yet still being asked to have gone through that as if there were no disruptions is really unrealistic. We do want to address the learning needs of our kids going forward. We got to keep schools open, but if you look at the past couple of years, these were things that were out of our control. We didn't shut down the island, shut down the schools. Private schools went through the same thing. And our community, our kids, we had a hard time reaching every kid, because not all kids had the ability to go online, or if they had computers, didn't have internet, reliable internet, or we had to resort to hard copy, which was for many kids something that they might have preferred, but really didn't produce the academic benefit that we still need to see. So that was our conversation with the senators yesterday. And we simply, described what we were doing to address learning loss going forward, meaning, discussions about summer school, discussions about expanding our intervention programs, and we hope that they will act favorably on the extension, and then we can get more into the discussion of the mandates and how they apply, given what we've learned from COVID-19. So, for instance, if people want to see online learning, online learning in most best practices will show that online learning is not straight time on a computer. It's a combination of synchronous and asynchronous learning. So how do you measure whether or not you're producing the adequate amount of instructional time, right? I mean, there's a lot of different things that we've learned that we need to probably adjust to. And like I said, the teachers produced 180 days of instructional time. I mean, they worked 180 days. So anything we do to go above and beyond that also takes into account that we didn't foresee that there are resources that should come along with that, and that's also another issue. I think people who are saying we should just simply extend the school year need to realize that we can't just expect that our teachers will be available. They're 9 month employees. They completed their contract. We would have a hard time finding enough teachers and paying them, which I think would be at an overtime rate in order to extend the school year. So a lot of complications in that as well.
Yeah.
Something I read on a comment from a parent. She mentioned that as discussions are still ongoing in regards to mandating summer school, but you guys want to waive the 24 days of missed day. Sorry, you guys want to waive 24 missed days, but you guys want to require summer school for some students, and the purpose of summer school is to address the learning loss. I guess she's asking why continuing trying to mandate it.
So the issue is there is a requirement for 180 days, and really the language is kind of, I don't know, fluffy. It's 180 days or its equivalent is what is in the law. I really think we need to really figure out what that means going down the road. But that's what's in the law right now. So that's the mandate that requires us during the course of a school year. Every student has to have that same minimum time, instructional time during a normal school year. So what we're doing is saying we don't believe that every student needs to go, needs to have the time extended, into the summer. But so waiving that requirement for every student will then give us the flexibility to look at other ways to address learning loss. And I think the mandatory summer school conversation is really about recognizing that some students may not need to go to summer school to address their academic progress. For those students that demonstrate a significant need, the question was whether we can require them to go. So it's a mandate. Yeah, we are talking about a mandate, but it's not for every student, and it really is based on academic need. And that's something that I think that's we've learned. It is possible for us to issue that mandate for that group of students and to fund it with federal funds. And so we just need to conclude that discussion with the board. But again, it's much different to bring in 6,000 to 8,000 students versus all 24,000 students, coming back, during the summer and an extended school year. That's a different type of situation.
All right. And what is the latest in regards to doing proms and graduation?
So our understanding is that, first of all, is that UOG will be available, the field house, and that unless we see further restrictions, that in-person ceremonies will continue to be allowed under public health parameters. So this year, my understanding at the latest conversation, I'm not going to give you specific schools and locations. We'll have to make, I think we just have to make sure that's announced officially, so I don't get it wrong on the air. Yeah. But I do know that the schools are planning for either in-person ceremonies at UOG, the Cabo Fieldhouse, or at their school campus. And I think they're working through the logistics of what that means for the number of guests that can attend, given all the social distancing rules and so forth. But it looks like this year we will be able to have in-person ceremonies. Much bigger deal for us with the 300 plus graduates that we anticipate at our largest schools. But it is something that the schools are working on, and I'm actually looking forward to that. I mean, it's it's something we haven't been able to do for a couple of years, but you kind of miss the pomp and circumstance and the big celebration that our kids deserve.
Okay. And student testing, I know Erica Cruz mentioned this a while back, a couple GDOE media meetings, that student testing or swabbing students for COVID would begin next school year, and you guys are not focusing on that this year. So is that still the status?
So what I would say about that is, it's kind of a moving target, and we've been working with public health, and I think we've been on the same page, because we know that the CDC has recommended screening testing as part of an ongoing strategy, looking forward to be proactive in identifying cases and whatnot. However, having said that, what we've been dealing with is more of immediate response and reaction, right? So we dealt with Omicron, Delta, these other waves that we've seen already in the past. So we've really been in more of a reactive mode so that we can do the immediate diagnosis and treatment for those who are going, as we've gone through the different waves. We really haven't had the luxury of saying, okay, things are calm for now. What we're going to do now is do screening testing as our priority. As you've seen during Omicron, the real issue was, can we get enough tests? Can we expand testing at the school sites? How do we do screening testing when the focus is on symptomatic individuals? We really haven't been in a time frame where screening testing is the priority, because again, like during the last few months, the real priority has been working with limited testing supplies and prioritizing those testing supplies for those individuals who are more likely to be positive for COVID-19 due to symptoms. So again, we have worked through working through our protocols. We're working through the necessary authorities that we would need to be able to implement screening testing. But until we get to a point in time where things are calmer, we can guarantee testing supplies. We're not going to really be pushing to implement that until all those pieces fall into place. So the planners are planning. They're getting their different details together. And again, as you know, testing supply has really been the key issue during Omicron. And with that being said, we were never able to identify adequate testing supply to be able to implement student testing when those tests were being prioritized for other individuals.
Okay. And something a little concerning I saw was
one thing before I go is if the other thing we're also tracking is guidance is changing, right? So CDC guidance, is changing. Local restrictions are changing. So even if we get through the screening testing planning, going into this end of the school year into the summer, I mean, there might be a possibility that it no longer may be recommended as a strategy by the time we get to it because of for other factors. So we have that in mind that it is still in the plan and it's still something that we want to be able to do when the time comes. But we also want to keep in mind that the CDC is looking and local governments are looking at masking requirements now, whether that's going to still be in place. The restrictions have been less restrictive, going into this time frame. And then again, if screening and testing is still required, then we will want to be prepared to do it. But we don't know if guidance will change, and it seems to be something that we just have to continue to monitor day by day. So just a heads up on that one as well.
All right, Superintendent Fernandez, I wanted to ask about the teacher raises in the study. What's the latest in regards to that?
We're still meeting on that. I mean, we have an internal working group. We have a couple board members kind of helping us work through gathering all the necessary information. And our time frame really is to come up with a proposal this month so that we can move it forward. So before the end of March, we want to complete that work. So we have a couple, or actually 2 or 3 committees of folks in place to gather the necessary information and identify the issues that need to be addressed, so we can work with DOA to finalize a proposal that we want to complete by the end of March. So that's our time frame and our goal.
Okay, one more question I have is yesterday in the legislature, Senator Shelton brought up that parents were sent a letter asking for, I guess, the students' vaccination status, and I wanted to get an understanding from you. What was exactly in the letter, and what was the purpose of sending those out to parents?
Well, the letter was sent by one school. It was actually PC Lujan, and it was done prior to their clinic that they were holding on the 22nd, I believe, of February, the after-school clinic to vaccinate students who were eligible as well as family members. So they did send out a letter requesting an update of children's vaccination status, and really I guess the couple of things that were of concern was, number one is, why was the school asking? 2, what does the school do with the information? And number 3, is it a requirement? So I did send a response yesterday to Senator Nelson to clarify, and I addressed it during the informational session. Number one is that the collection of vaccination information is not a new thing. I mean, I think it's something that we do want to do. We don't want every school going out there on their own trying to seek the information in different ways. We do collect that information because there are already required immunizations that if you don't get as a student, you're not supposed to be coming to school. So it's I think in line with that, we did include COVID-19 vaccination in our student information forms that go to our parents at the beginning of the school year. And of course, we got a low response rate for that particular vaccination information. And the key is it's voluntary. That vaccine is voluntary. It's not a requirement to come to school. So we definitely want to clarify, should we do this again at a district level, that it's, that parents should know that, vaccination is not required. You don't need to provide the information to come to school. But it is information that would be helpful at the school level because right now the public health protocols differ in terms of your vaccination status. So when we look at the protocols and they say, well, you're positive or you're a contact, the public health guidelines require that we look at vaccination status and say, if you're vaccinated, then this is the number of days you have to quarantine. If you're unvaccinated, here's another set of requirements. So at some point, that information is critical to being able to implement the public health protocols. And so that's something that, we definitely don't want every school going out and doing it at different times and generating any concern. We hope to gather that information at some point because it helps our nurses move forward and quickly execute their duties and responsibilities. And like I said, public health guidelines at this point indicate that there are different protocols if you're vaccinated versus unvaccinated. So if your student is involved or your child is involved and we want to give you the proper guidance, we're going to need to know that vaccination status in order to do that. But again, I just want to clarify, you don't have to be vaccinated for COVID-19 to come to school as a student. That's not a requirement. And number two, for those parents who did not respond to that letter, they didn't feel comfortable, that also wasn't mandatory. And I think the school could have put that language in the letter and said it isn't mandatory. You can opt out of responding. That might have been a cause for concern because it wasn't really clear. So we hope that we address that in the hearing, and obviously going forward, we want to make sure that language is clear. Should there be any further correspondence on that issue?
Thank you, Superintendent, for your time. I know you're a busy man.
If I could just add, and maybe I know this is kind of an offline conversation between you and myself, Isaiah, but I did reach out to public health because I know that there are a lot of questions being received, and I know that your article got some questions and comments from parents about the PEBT program.
Yes.
Right. So we are. I've been in contact with the staff at, my staff, of course, and at public health, and I wanted to say a couple of things. One is that the information that was supposed to be provided by DOE and corrected and addressed has been submitted to public health.
Yeah.
They're going through the final stages of review, but my understanding, and this is something where we will ensure gets clarified for the public health side, is that the PEBT program is not only for summer school students.
Okay, so you guys officially confirmed that then, because public health says otherwise all the time. So is that something you guys confirmed already?
I'm saying it right now, and I've got confirmation from staff from public health as well as my team. I looked up other states to determine whether they were restricting the PEBT program for only summer school students. But it really isn't. It really is for those who were enrolled in the school lunch and breakfast program, so basically in DOE schools who participate during the school year 2021 school year, and if you were enrolled, you're able to receive the summer benefit as well. And I wanted to say that because that's a big difference.
Yes, from the summer school population. That's correct. So I stand to be corrected if someone can produce that, but that's I've double checked that, and I wanted to make sure that you guys don't get in the middle of having to defend or explain it and then come back and be corrected. I'll take care of that, and I've told public health if they're getting different information, provide it to me, and so we can clarify that. But at this point, all the other states
are moving forward, and it goes to everyone who's enrolled in that school year as of the last month of school year 2021.
I got to
it
get
has
in.
nothing to do with the enrollment and summer school at this point.
So that's like the official.
Yes, because that's
sorry, because
that's what we're planning for.
Okay.
And again, that's what we're planning for, because that's why it's harder. That's why the master list is such a big issue, because we're talking about 26,000 students.
Right.
Not the 6,000 students that would be in summer school.
I'm glad I didn't throw away my PEBT card for my kids. So
Well, that's what I was afraid
Me
of.
too.
Hold on to it. If for some reason this information changes in 3 weeks, you'll still have your, but don't throw away the PEBT cards, because they're gonna just load them, when the benefit becomes available. But if you throw it away, you're gonna have to go through the process of
getting a new one.
Picking it up again.
Okay, and
just a heads up.
Okay, just to clarify before you head out, this the PEBT cards will be getting $438 as soon as Public Health approves that listing from school year 2020 to 2021. So basically, those who got PEBT cards last year in August
are going to get them again.
Yeah, I think they're just finalizing some of their plan details. But my understanding is they're at the final stages, and so again, maybe the biggest point is what you said, Chris. Don't throw your PEBT cards because you read that you're not eligible. My understanding is that all students enrolled who received it during school year 2021 are also eligible for the summer benefit. So go back to the trash, pick it out, take people's cards out. And
John, to be fair though, I didn't throw it away because I couldn't find it for a couple weeks, but I know where it is now, and it's not going anywhere.
My brother's own is in my wallet.
Good. Keep that safe for him. Thank you, John.
Exactly. All right, thanks guys.
Right,
See you next week.
Well, that was a lot of back and forth, Isaiah, because I know even just here in the newsroom we were trying to figure out. Right, we heard one thing, and then it was just the summer school. So
yeah, I felt bad because parents are really confused, and I wanted to prevent from spreading misinformation. And so, yes, it was definitely back and forth between Public Health and GDOE.
And so now, officially, from John Fernandez, everybody who got the PBT cards the last time they're gonna get them again.
Get additional funds.
Okay, got it.
$438 to be exact.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isaiah. Isaiah Huggett, he's our education reporter. For the KUAM news team, one of our awesome young guns, 903 KUAM FM. I got you, Guam. Cover Me, guys. It's brought to you by Docomo Pacific. A reading from the Book of Docomo. Docomo Pacific's here to help. The Affordable Connectivity Program helps you connect to things that matter most with $30 off select internet plans like your live mass stream. Connect. Thank you, Docomo. Head over to Docomo Pacific's Tamuning HQ to see if you qualify. Qualifying households can get a free router with an additional $45 off for a limited time only. Visit Docomo Pacific and ask about ACP today. Docomo Pacific, better together. And now, please turn the book to the Book of Burger King. Wednesday, guys, celebrating Chamorro month. Okay? For those of you who are not abstaining from meat today, it is a Whopper Wednesday. Yep, it's back. I love the Whopper. You got to say it loud now while you can. BK your way. So you go to Burger King, you get a Whopper, and you tell them, "Why's a how Whopper since it's mess tomorrow, right?" And then you get another Whopper just like that. And just as an additional information for you guys, if you're Lenting, just in time for Lent, try the BK Big Fish Sandwich. Guys, I love the BK Big Fish Sandwich. It is so big, and the tartar sauce, it's like that chef's kiss. Or the Impossible Whopper. Yep, the Impossible Whopper is Lent friendly because it's 100% Whopper. Low. Thawed that beef. Low, 100% Whopper. 905, cover me, guys. Check us tomorrow. We're getting a CNMI Governor Ralph Torres here on the link. It'll be a great show. So don't miss it. Miss a link, miss a lot. I know you'll be there. I'm going to be there. Okay, my name's Chris. For Joe, sir, for Sabrina doing the news, the KUAM news team. Continue to do an awesome job in getting your back with our 6 o'clock newscast. My name's Chris. Leaving you with Micah Menaitai and his cover. I mean, this is to cover a song like Inner Voices, right? Inner Voices, when you talk about the Mount Rushmore of legendary classic Chamorro songs, Inner Voices is up there. For me, especially because it's one of the first songs where they had like the whole English Chamorro thing going on, right? And so you kind of like the English verse, and then they had the Chamorro verse, which was the English verse in Chamorro. So it was a good teaching tool. But Micah Manaitai, he's a new cat. It's kind of a newer artist. I know he stays out in the States. Obviously, he's Chamorro, and this is his version of Mariana's Homegrown's Inner Voices. Again, my name's Chris. Esta Adios.
Come and stay with me for a while. Let my morning sun be your smile. If you touch me, you know I'll be touching you. That's the way it is. You know we can make it come true. You got to listen to the voices inside. There are wishes that sometimes hide. Listen to the voices singing inside. To you, yes, to you. Musinya sumaga hauratu. Pues es como que contas para aku. Sedek como que estoy aquí wow. Lo es como que contas para aku. Tahu, aku tahu. Won't you come and stay with me for a while? Sinya sumaga hauratu. Maybe someday we might Listen to the voices.